Hello and a very good morning. Welcome to Shop on TV. I'm Hayley Green.
And I'm Sean Crawley.
And together we've got a show where I think you'll be really grateful you've switched on at this moment in time. Because if you haven't written a will, and I don't think you really realise how important it is to write a will, you'll discover in this show that it is truly the best thing you can do. Because sadly, if you haven't written a will, there is a will that's been written for you by the government that will fall into place, which won't be what you want to happen.
And I think we don't write a will for a number of reasons. First of all, we just don't get round to it. We think it's really expensive, but we're taking all of that away. We're working with experts in the field with Simpler Law during this show.
Who make it really simple as well.
So easy, yeah, it's so straightforward. And the offers that we have available for you, not just for wills, also for lasting power of attorney. So let's show you those offers straight away. You can see here, if you want to go for a will, well, the deal that we've got is brilliant. It's a suggested retail price of £249, which would be a great price. However, our offer price brings it down to £99, but we're going to offer you a further 10% discount on that. So it comes down to £89. Simpler Law are also going to offer you 4 interest-free payments, so it comes down to £22.25 on your first of 4.
And when you think about what you spend on perhaps cups of coffee in a week, I mean, that is nothing. And you've written a will to make sure what you've worked so hard for, what you want to happen with it, is actually going to happen. Because truly, there is a will out there that will fall in place if you haven't written your own will, which won't be what you want at all. So that is an amazing price, and it's that price until close of business on Friday. But I would say get in contact straight away so you don't miss out and don't forget. That's another reason we don't do wills and lasting powers of attorney. You think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. Then the lasting power of attorney, and we will go into detail as to what that is and why that is so important as well. It's been on the news quite a lot just recently, actually, and you can see there, fantastic price, £349 normally. So though you think these things are really expensive, they're not, but we've got a great saving. Our regular price £199, but because we have got that extra 10% off, you have got an amazing deal at £179, which again, you can split that cost with 4 payments to £44.75.
And then if you want the best offer of all is the combination. If you want to go for a will and lasting power of attorney, it should be almost £600. The offer was going to be £269, but Simpler Law once again are offering an extra 10% off. So it comes down to £242 or £60.50 on your first of 4 interest.
And if you think about what you spend on a takeaway or a night out, I mean, honestly, it is so affordable to make sure what you want to happen does happen. When you do pass, and you'd be devastated, wouldn't you, looking down on your family falling out because they knew what you wanted, you'd told them, but that's not good enough. The government will that falls into place if you haven't written your own will doesn't work for anybody, and we will explain exactly why. Whether you're married, whether you're not married but lived together for years, whether you've got children or haven't got children, if you've got children from different relationships, if you're a person on your own, it doesn't work for any of you. Now, another reason to get this sorted right now is the first 250 people will get this fabulous book.
It's what my family should know. It's basically where you record details for everything from pensions to passwords to digital accounts, all in that book. First 250 people who sign up will get that book. But how do you get in touch? Well, it's really simple, really straightforward, and lots of different options for you. So if we start off first of all with the website, you go directly to simplerlaw.co.uk, go /shop on TV, and it'll take you straight through to those exclusive offers we talked about.
Or you can jump onto the phones. We've got the team on the phones till 3 a.m. So 033 600 2600. And the team are there waiting for your call. You might have a couple of questions, you can ask them, but the idea is you don't need any information, you just need to know you want to do a will or lasting power of attorney. But the best way to go,
and the easiest way,
it's
just to text,
because you've always got your phone in your hand, and all you need to do, you don't need to speak to anybody, you just text the word will to 66777, and that is you securing all of those prices, and then the team will get back to you a little bit later on tomorrow or over the next couple of days to actually sort out the dates that are convenient to really sit down and talk about things.
And remember, those offers are only available until the close of business on Friday, so do get in touch. It's simple and straightforward, and you can make your own will.
And it is all about, of course, wills and lasting powers of attorney, and we are going to go into detail about all of this. But please, if it's something you haven't done and it's something you've been thinking about doing, I know how we put absolutely everything off, don't we? And one day it will be too late. So please stay with us and just see how important it is, because I think there's lots of things we didn't realise.
Yep.
We didn't realise if we hadn't written a will, though we've been together 34 years, we're not married. And sadly, the government will wouldn't have cared that we've been together 34 years, and I wouldn't have been entitled to your money.
No.
You wouldn't have been entitled
But there's lots of
to mine.
misconceptions that people have. Luckily, we're joined by two experts to explain everything. Charlotte and Ian are with us throughout the show. It's really important that we explain that you are experts in the field. This is pretty much all you do, isn't it, Ian?
This is all we do. Yeah, this is all we specialise in. So you wouldn't come to Charlotte and I for a divorce or a boundary dispute or a personal injury claim or anything like that. But this aspect of the law, actually protecting your assets, protecting your family, this is all we specialise in, and everything we do is in-house.
Yeah.
So we control the quality and we control the speed at which we get the documents to you, and that's all headed up by Charlotte and her team, the client care team.
And Charlotte, it's really important that everyone at home watching, everyone needs a will, don't they?
Everybody needs a will. I don't think a lot of people actually realise that if they don't write their own will, there is actually a will out there for them, which is called the rules of intestacy, but what we call the government will.
Yeah.
And it doesn't meet anyone's needs at all. So by actually putting a will in place for them, it's all about having control and making sure that what you want to happen actually happens for you.
And we've just popped that on the screen,
and
the rules of intestacy.
We were saying earlier, it doesn't work for anybody. So whether you are married with children from different relationships, whether you're married just with your own children, whether you're living together for years on end and perhaps longer than some marriages, this doesn't work, does it, for anybody at all? Have you ever written a will that's like the government will?
No, that's a great question. No. Never.
There's the answer.
No.
Simple as that.
It's interesting because you're right. When you say it doesn't work for anybody, it doesn't work for their personal circumstances. What it is a default position. So it always works, but it doesn't work for you. Yeah. It kind of works for the government. There has to be, if you think about it logically, there has to be a position if you haven't got.
Because you think, oh, that's ridiculous, but there has to be something, doesn't there?
This is the thing I think that surprises most people, is if there is no grey area in this. You either pass away and you've made your own will, and you've done that correctly, and it's all signed and witnessed correctly, and those will be your wishes, and that's what's going to be carried out, or you haven't. And if you haven't, then the default position is the government will. And somewhere in between, there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the UK who are going, well, I think it'll be okay, or I'm sure it'll be okay, or actually John, who's the pub quiz champion down the pub, said it was going to be okay, but they can't quite tell you why they think it's going to be okay. And that's really, those are the sad stories, because that's when it can go wrong. That's when, as you've already alluded to, you could have a couple who aren't married and might have children from different relationships, and the government will doesn't take that dynamic into account. And it sounds melodramatic, but it will literally rip that family apart at the worst possible time. This is really easy to do. It's lovely speaking to Charlotte, a member of a team. It's not morbid, it's not difficult.
No.
But it's a phone call away. We can't help you until you pick up the phone. So you're probably listening to me now with your phone next to you. Just text the word will to 66777, and Charlotte or a member of her team will give you a call back, and you won't regret that you did that, because you'll have done something not just amazing for yourself, but more importantly, amazing for the people that you care about.
And it's just taking that first step, I think, for a lot of people.
And it's truly a weight off your shoulders. You won't believe the relief. You'll think, oh gosh, thank goodness I've sorted that, because there'd be nothing worse than it being just too late. And then all you promised everybody, because you've probably sat down and spoken about it, say, well, my family knows. Or I would say, well, no, all my family knows what's mine is Sean's, all my family knows what Sean is mine, and all his family know. But actually that government will would fall in place. And sadly, that's not going to happen unless you've physically written your own will, and a professional will.
Yeah, written by experts, so you know that it's right. Now, the details on the screen are for a will. If you want to write your own will, you've got a fantastic offer at £89 at 4 interest-free payments of £22.25 on your first of 4 payments, directly with Simpler Law. We've also got lasting powers of attorney. We're going to run through those with you as well during the show. And remember, the first 250 clients will also receive What My Family Should Know. Easy to get in touch, whether it's the website, whether it's the phone, whether you just want to text the word will. as we said, to 66777.
And it is a time limited offer, so only until close of business on Friday. So do it right now, because how often do we forget and suddenly the weekend will be gone and you'll think, why didn't I ring up and get that extra money off and get that fabulous deal? But stay with us, because we've got so much more to tell you and so many more reasons to know why you definitely need to write a will. Hello and a very good morning. Welcome to Shop on TV. I'm Hayley Green.
And I'm Sean Crawley.
And together we've got a show that I really do think you'll think, thank goodness I switched on. I was meant to switch on tonight, because I don't think a lot of us we didn't realise how important it is to get a legally written will. Because I think you'll think, well, I told the family, they know what I want. Or if you're like us, you've been together for years. Everybody knows what's mine is Sean's, what Sean's is mine.
You presume lots of things, don't you? But without it written down in a legally binding will, your wishes just won't happen.
And sadly, there is a will written there for you. So if you haven't got your own, it's called the government will. And it's over 100 years old. And I can't see that government will would work for anybody. It's very much like the situations where suddenly you find out that neighbour that died down the road, everything went to that long lost sort of cousin who lived in France that had never met and didn't know. And that's what the government will is. It's a long list of yes or no questions, and it doesn't go to the loved ones that you want it to go to. So do stay with us, because I do think it's so important, and it's so affordable, because I think lots of us think it's going to be expensive, it's going to be complicated.
And we just don't get round to it. This is all about taking that first step to write your will. And we've got fabulous offers available for you on the show. We're working directly with experts with Simpler Law directly. Let's run you through the offers, because it's not just for wills, it's also for lasting powers of attorney. You might have heard of that term and not know exactly what it means. Well, we'll explain that through the show for you. So let's start off. If you want to write your own will, if it was the full price, the suggested retail price of £249, I think it's a lot more affordable than people think.
I think you'd think it would be thousands, wouldn't you? So £249 worth every single penny of that. But actually, we always have a really special deal when we have Simpler Law with us, and £99 is your regular price.
But we've got an extra 10% discount on the show. This is only until close of business on Friday, so we'd urge you to get in touch sooner rather than later. It comes down to £89. Or on those 4 interest-free payments, just £22.25 on your first of 4 payments there with the will. However, if you want to get a lasting power of attorney, and as we said, we will explain that as we go through the show, this is also on a great offer, isn't it?
I mean, you've got a great price at £349, something again that is so important. It's been in the press quite a lot just recently. Should be with us our regular price of £199. However, you have got that extra 10% off until close of business on Friday. £179 is your price, and then you can split that cost again with 4 payments. £44.75 is the first of those payments. Also affordable when you think about how much you spend on coffee, how much I was looking at clothes today. I couldn't even buy a jacket for that. Honestly, it's so affordable, and it's money so well spent, isn't it?
It certainly is. The biggest saving of all, though, is if you go for a will and lasting power of attorney. The regular price there should be almost £600. The offer price was going to be $269, but with that extra 10% discount, it comes down to $242 for the both of them. And if you want to spread the cost again with those interest-free payments, £60.50 on your first of 4 interest-free.
And if you do stay with us for the show and you think, right, you get in contact and you say, I'm going to do the will, and then whilst you watch the show, you think, I wish I'd done the lasting power of attorney as well. As long as you've actually secured the deals with us tonight or before the close of business on Friday, You can then choose whether you're going to do just the will or the will and the lasting power of attorney. Just make sure you secure those prices.
Yeah.
Another reason to do it right now, you might have seen just at the bottom of that list of prices that the first 250 people get this brilliant book. Now, I always used to say you should have it from birth, but that's a bit early. So from working, when you start work, everybody should have this book.
Yeah, it's called What My Family Should Know. The first 250 people who sign up for the offers will get this book. But what it contains is, well, you've got all your information in one place. It could be things like pensions that you put in there, bank details.
That's what your family are looking for. And it used to be in shoe boxes, didn't it? You know, where's the shoe? Where's the secret
All over
spot?
the place.
Hunting around the house for all the information that you need. You've actually written it down, and it's quite satisfying to do this.
But it's also
as well.
Things like digital accounts,
Yeah, well, life is different now. It's
your
not
phones,
all
yeah.
about letters now, is it? It's emails off password, and you need a password for perhaps a tablet or a phone, or perhaps it's sentimental photographs that you know are on mum and dad's phone,
Yeah.
but you can't get on it because you don't know the password. All that information is in that book, and it is only the first 250 people. It nearly always disappears very quickly, so do make sure you're one of the first to get in contact. And it's so easy to get in contact just to secure the prices.
Yeah, here's the contact details. You're going directly to Simpler Law this evening. So simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV if you are online. However, the team are in the call centre right now. They're there right through till 3 a.m. If you want to call the call centre, 0333 600 2600 is the number.
And you might have a couple of questions. They'll answer a couple of questions for you. But honestly, you don't need to know anything today. No information, just that you want to write a will. You want to do that lasting power of attorney. And you're just securing those prices right now. One of the easiest ways and one of the busiest ways, it's the most popular, is you just text. And we love this. I do all the competitions where you just text. It's gone up to 580,000, my winnings this week. But you are a winner straight away. I never win on these competitions. But if you text Will to 66777, you have won, because you've taken that first step to make sure you do get that will written, that you do get that lasting power of attorney sorted. And remember as well, you can go via our website. You'll see the logo for Simpler Law. You can click on that. But of course, so easy to get in contact in those 3 ways that you see on the screen right now. And those prices only till close of business on Friday. So do it now. Yeah. We missed out again the other day because we left it too late.
Start.
Or the prices has gone back up. Today, actually, yeah. Gone from £360 to £1,000. Are we going away for a weekend? No.
Okay.
No, so do it now, because if you leave it, you've missed out on the deal, and you'll just forget again. We put everything off, don't we? I think that's one of our biggest things.
This is taking that first step to write a will, to get a lasting power of attorney. It's just putting the wheels in motion. Now, we're not alone. Joining us on the show, 2 of the team from Simpler Law are with us, Ian and Charlotte, once again. Lovely to see you both. Great to have your company as always. I think it's really important to point out straight away, Ian, what is a will and why does everyone need one?
A will is a legal document that basically is your last act on planet Earth, truthfully. So you document what you want to happen when you're no longer here. So it's your document, it's your wishes. So it's bespoke to you. We've written over 250,000 wills and not one is the same. Obviously, they're all unique because they're particular to our client and their circumstances. And it is your last act on planet Earth. And you know, you've worked hard for everything that you've got. You care about the people that are around you. So you want to know that when you pass away, that what you want to happen is going to happen. And sadly, there's far too much myth and misconception out there about everything will be okay and I'm sure this will happen. And even if it doesn't, you know, my eldest son knows what I want to happen or my wife knows what I want to happen. And unfortunately, they only find out that's not sufficient when it's too late, because you either die by making your own will, and this is why it's important that everyone makes a will. You either pass away with your will in place so your wishes are carried out, or you don't. And the alternative, when you don't pass away with your own will, is the government very kindly provide one to you.
And I don't think people realise that even exists.
No clue about that at all, because you just presume, you know, like we were saying earlier, that everybody knew that if one of us passed, we've been together 34 years, that everything's mine is Sean's, but everything Sean's is mine. But that government will, it doesn't work for us, and everybody might think, well, you're not married, but actually, when you look at that government will, it doesn't work correctly for anybody, does it?
By definition, it's a default position. So, as I said, you either pass away with your own will, so your wishes are carried out, but if you haven't made your will, there has to be a default position, otherwise there'd be anarchy. And so basically the rules of intestacy were set up 100 years ago, and that's the government will, which is a series of yes or no questions that actually start with your marital status. So if someone passes away, the first question that's asked of the person that's passed away is were they married or in a civil partnership or not. And they're all yes or no questions. Again, there's no ambiguity. There's no have you been together for 34 years?
Yes.
Do you cohabit? Are you in love?
It doesn't deviate at all, does it?
It doesn't care. And it can't care really, because that literally is the will for millions of people. If you're sat at home now listening to me and you haven't made your own will, I promise you, you've got a free one, and it's the government will. And that's why it's really important to make your own will, because you don't want one rule to be your will, because it doesn't fit everybody's circumstances.
And even if you
care about you.
are, because we're not married, but for anybody that is married, and life 100 years ago is very different. I'm sure it wouldn't have worked correctly for anybody then, but people stayed married for years, didn't, or forever, and then lots had sort of 2 or 4 children. Now we've got lots of marriages that is second or third marriage. They've got children from different families, and even though they see themselves as one big family and don't see themselves as stepsisters or stepbrothers, that gets very complicated with that government will, doesn't it?
Get really messy really quickly. But for the reasons you've explained, because again, the rules of intestacy is all about your own bloodline. And if you are on a second marriage, and Charlotte and her team, that's not an uncommon thing now. In fact, I would say that's 50-50, if not more.
Yeah.
You know, when we're speaking to people, they might not be married, they might be on a second relationship, a third relationship. So it's really not uncommon to speak to someone that might be on the second marriage. They might have children together, they might have children from previous relationships. And this sounds really melodramatic when I say it, but at the worst possible time, when one of those parents passes away, the rules of intestacy can rip that family apart, because it doesn't care about the relationship, it only cares about bloodline. And sometimes it doesn't actually manifest until both parents have passed away. So forgive the finger puppets, but if Mr. passed away first, and under the rules of intestacy, because they were married, everything did go to his wife, everyone might be, that's fine, that's what they wanted. But then when Mrs. passes away, if she's got children from a previous relationship and none with her husband, or the gentleman that passed away, it all goes to her children only. So
not his.
Not his. So it's a lottery. The parent that dies first, their kids typically lose out. And people go, no, that's not right, and that can't be right, and I'm sure that's not the case. And I assure you, we're not scaremongering. You can look this up for yourself. We want to put that information out there, because there are far too many people who are, and I understand, we don't wake up on a Saturday morning and go, oh, I wonder what happens when I die, let's have a look. But that's the problem, as we'll talk about quite a bit this morning. We sadly get the too late phone call at the office where someone phones up and said, this has happened, what can we do? It's too late then, but you can do something amazing today.
And Charlotte, why do you think people don't get round to it? There's a lot of misconceptions, isn't there?
There's a lot of misconceptions. I think the big one is price, which hopefully this
Yeah,
morning now,
we've
addressed that. But I think also a lot of people can think it might be a bit daunting or morbid,
complicated.
And they don't want to talk about it. Yeah, we actually have a lot of clients that will call and say, well, you know, I've got a really complicated estate, but honestly, there's nothing we wouldn't be able to assist you with.
There's nothing you haven't heard before.
No, absolutely not. And we actually get more worried about the calls where they go, we've got a really, really easy estate, it's going to be fine.
Right, yeah.
You tend to find they're actually the more difficult ones, but there's nothing that we can't help you with. And also, you might actually find that you do have a bit of fun. When you're talking to the consultants, you'll be given a consultant and you'll stick with that same consultant.
Great.
You become a friend, really, because we dealt with Simpler Law way before they worked with us here on Shop on TV for doing my mum's lasting power of attorney. And they do become a friend. You just sit down and chat like we are right now. We don't need to know any answers to any questions. We don't have to really have any information.
Don't need any documents, do you?
You don't need anything. All you need to do today, for a start, is know that you want to write a will.
Just take that
We will
first step.
deal with everything else for you. We like to say it's a hand-holding service.
Yeah,
we'll guide you through everything. Just take that first step, because I promise you won't regret it.
And there's so much more you can do with a will than you think, because you might be sat at home thinking, well, I haven't got a great deal. But then when you actually do sit down with someone like Charlotte Well, yeah, I've got the house and I've got the car and I have got that family heirloom and what about my jewellery?
Well, you think at first it's just money, don't you, like you say, but there's so much more you can do. And this is just a list of some of the things. Ian, if anyone doesn't understand what an executor is, that's just who distributes the estate.
That's the person that you trust, that you choose to carry out your wishes, so they're responsible for basically administering your will. So that's one of the first things you get to choose. Again, under the rules of intestacy, you don't get that choice, so you don't know who's going to be stepping in and dealing with that. But I mean, they're all generic things on the screen, but there's usually 2 or 3, if not all of them, that affect our clients. You know, for parents, one of the things we know for a fact, the vast majority of parents that we speak to where they've got children under the age of 18, they don't actually want the children to inherit when they turn 18.
See, I'd never thought of that. So they would get everything at 18.
I mean, personally, I'd be offended if I wasn't given money at 18 because I was such a sensible 18-year-old.
So level-headed.
We've seen the photographs.
The only one.
Yeah.
I obviously had no friends at 18. Why did they let me have that mullet? But all joking aside, and we've heard these stories as well, where people have inherited when they're you know, immature, irresponsible, and they've frittered their inheritance away. Whereas we have other parents who say, well, actually, I wouldn't want them to get nothing at 18, but can they get a smaller percentage at 18 and more of a percentage when they're 21, and then the rest of it when they're 25? And this again is a thing that you can do with your will. When you make your will,
it's your document,
it's yours.
Isn't it?
It's not our will. We ask you what you want to do, and we make that happen for you if we can. And most of the time, Charlotte's pretty good.
First compliment.
Oh, he's done quite well so
He has
far.
actually.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised.
Nice, yeah.
But there are so many 5-star reviews. Trustpilot, they're amazing. And it's all really, the funny thing is, it doesn't mention really simpler law. It mentions Charlotte, it mentions the team, because it does become a personal friendship.
It does. That's what we're really proud of, because like I say, it is a hand-holding service. You don't need anything. You have all the answers. We're there to ask you the questions, and we might take you to a dark place for a couple of minutes, but honestly, on the whole, you will actually have some fun, and by the end of the consultation, it will be a weight lifted that you never realised you actually had.
So true.
Every single client I've spoken to, no one regrets writing a will. You get to the end and go, oh, that was all right. That was really easy, or God, that feels good to actually have that done. Put it away, know that you've done something really good. So, yeah, it's really nice to have those 5-star.
That's right. It's your last gift to your loved ones, isn't it? You know, what you want to happen is actually going to happen, what you've worked so hard
Selfless.
for. Yeah.
Completely selfless.
And it might be that you don't want somebody to have something as well.
Yeah.
That's not uncommon as well. Blood isn't thicker than water. You know, those fridge magnets that say that friends of the family you choose for yourself are there for a reason. Some people find it difficult to talk about that. You know, some people feel a little bit ashamed. They shouldn't, because, you know, family's family and people fall out. And again, that's the reason that you make the will. Some people feel very strongly, but it's not enough to tell your children that you don't want someone to inherit, because legally you can't do that. It has to be in a legally.
And then again, that can cause a big family upset, because then you could be in a situation where your family are knowing that someone's getting you know, money or family belongings that you know that actually your mum and dad or your brother or your sister, they didn't want them to have. So cause, you know, a real upset.
Yeah.
So important that you write your own will, and we'll go into more detail with that. But I think what we should mention as well at the top of the show is lasting power of attorney, because I do think a lot of people, everybody I think will know what a will is. I think we just don't get round to doing it. But lasting power of attorney, you may have heard of it, but not really
what
understand
you said, recently,
what it's about.
There's been quite a lot in the press about lasting powers of attorney.
And though we've learned so much from doing the show and know how important it is, because we did mums, and we did it really, I think sometimes you hear about lasting power of attorney because something awful happens and something goes wrong for somebody else, and you think we must get that done. Yeah. And that's why we did mums. But then we watched a programme the other day and we were blown away again how important it is to have a lasting power of attorney for each other or for parents. Honestly, lasting power of attorney. Charlotte, can you explain what this is? Because it is just as important as a will, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. I think a lot of people obviously understand a will because it's inevitable. You know you're going to need to use a will. Lasting powers of attorney, you want to put in place now and hope that you never need, but they're there should you need them. So these are documents if you lose your capacity for any reason, so you can't make your own decisions. It could be ill health, dementia, it's quite prevalent. Yeah. Anything where you aren't able to decide for yourself. It could be a freak accident even. So a lot of people think these are related to the elderly, but
No.
It could be any stage
age,
of life,
yeah.
absolutely. So the whole point of doing these is you put them in place now whilst you've got capacity, because once it's too late, unfortunately, you can't then put those documents in place. So you can nominate someone that you trust to essentially step into your shoes and become you and make your decisions for you.
And there are 2 different types, aren't there?
2 different types, yeah. So one that's most commonly known as property and financial affairs.
Okay.
So whoever you choose, could be family, could be friends. These people can essentially manage your finances, so they can access your bank accounts.
Right.
And it's
Pay
funny
bills.
because you would think, I look after mum now, and you think, oh, well, I'd be able to do all those things. But of course, no bank's going to deal with me. The government's not going to deal with me because they'll only talk to mum.
Yeah, it's that same assumption, I think.
Yeah.
You just assume
Yeah.
people are going to know that
Are
this
you the
person's
account
gonna look
holder?
after me. Yeah.
That's where it stops,
Data
isn't
protection,
it? Every
yeah.
time, yeah.
Anywhere you go in institutions.
And it's even complicated as well with like bank accounts and things. If you've got a joint bank account,
Yeah.
and it's your partner or your husband, your wife that's actually poorly, that can be frozen, can't it?
Yeah, because if you've got a joint bank account, essentially you both have control of that account. So if one of you isn't able to make that decision, neither is the other. So they can freeze that account and you actually lose access to that as well. So if you haven't got any personal accounts or your bills are coming out of that joint account, you still can't control that if someone's lost capacity. So really, really important documents. But anything from a financial point of view, someone can step in and manage for you, even selling the house if it's needed.
Yes.
You might own property if that's needed to pay for care or anything else. It allows someone to step into your shoes at a really difficult time and manage everything for you.
And there's 2 types, because we came to you originally for mums and it was for the financial side of it. But then when we sat down and chatted, just like we're chatting now, you mentioned there was a second lasting power of attorney. And I was like, oh gosh, this is just, or to me, probably more important than the financial side of things.
Yeah, it's more of an emotional side, so health and welfare. So this one, again, can be the same people as your finances or different, but they can decide where you're living. So if you need to go into care, it could be they want to care for you at home. They can make that decision for you, even down to things like what you're eating, what you're wearing, which we take for granted every day. But actually, if you're a vegetarian or you like to have your hair a certain way, like to have your nails
Yes.
done.
It's really important to you, isn't it?
Yeah, your loved ones are going to know that. So again, it's selfless because you're letting those people do it for you, but also it's people that you know are going to care for you in a
you
time that you're not
decide,
going to be
yeah.
able to do it. So it's having that control again and knowing that should the worst happen in life throw you that curveball, you've got those documents to the side for those people to step in and do everything for you, essentially, if you're not able to. Really, really powerful documents.
Really is, isn't it?
And it's a bit, I think, like a will as well. I think I presumed I could just carry on and look after mum and sort everything. And you can't, that's not going to happen. Because in a way, there's not a government lasting power of attorney, but you have to prove yourself to be the right person
Through
to
the courts, don't
look after your loved one.
The person that's become incapacitated falls under the realms of the court of protection. They're now a vulnerable person, so they're deemed to need protection. So even when someone's husband or wife approaches the court of protection for what's called a deputyship order, they have to jump through hoops to prove that they're the right person to take control of their affairs. It's awful in one sense, but also makes sense when you think about it again, because how does that court know that you're not estranged from your husband or your wife?
Yeah.
How does that court know that you don't have a strained relationship with your son or your daughter? They don't, so they're there to protect. So the beauty of a power of attorney, it's a crystal ball, it's a what-if document.
Yes.
If you could see the future and knew life was never going to throw you a curveball, because bad stuff always happens to somebody else. But if you knew that life was going to be absolutely squeaky clean and no problems, you don't need this document. But of course we don't know that.
No.
So as Charlotte quite rightly said, these are documents that you want to have and then hope that you never need to use them. But the people that you name are the people that you trust. So not only do you not have to go through the court of protection, or more to the point, the people that you trust don't have to go through the court of protection. It can be registered with something called the Office of Public Guardian, and your chosen attorneys can act in your best interest pretty much straight away once it's registered. Without that, you don't know who's actually going to go to the court of protection, if anybody. And that can make a bad situation even worse.
And then it's the cost of the court of
cost is
protection, isn't
ridiculous,
it?
yeah.
And you personally have to find this money, because obviously you can't use your loved one's money.
Not until it's cyclical, not until you've been granted permission to access it, yeah.
And I mean, cost-wise, that's a lot of money, and some of it says annual, so that's...
Every year.
True for those fees, all the court fees there, which have been revised again, That £1,100, including the annual fee, that's if you do it yourself.
And that's without any professional help.
And if you've ever looked at a court of protection application form, you'll realise why a lot of people don't do it themselves and have to then also turn to a professional to help them. And then you've got professional fees on top of those court fees. So, well before I got into this, well over 25 years ago, when I used to hear people talking about thousands of pounds to get control of the parents, I didn't really fully understand it, truthfully, because how could it be so expensive? And then when you learn about the court of protection and the fees that it costs to help, and all of a sudden it's not uncommon for it to cost £4,000 or £5,000. But worse than the cost, it can take up to a year for the deputyship to be even granted, because the court's taking that long to give those decisions. So all that time, you want to care for your loved one, but you're dealing with the court.
It's essential time, isn't it?
It's not
and
great.
Surely as well, sometimes that year can just be too late.
Sadly, yeah. Look, with the lasting power of attorney, we're very good in the UK. We're very good at protecting things that we can see.
We insure so many things, don't we?
I want to be really clear, a lasting power of attorney is not an insurance policy. It's not. I call it the what-if document. But we pay money for a lot of what-ifs. We'll insure our pets. Of course we will, because we love our pets. But we'll insure things like a boiler. We'll insure our tablet. We'll insure our phone. Of course we'll insure our car. Some people turn around and say, oh yeah, but you legally have to insure a car. Well, I think legally you only have to do it third party, but we all insure it fully comprehensive. So we pay all this money out, and on coffees I like you. So we pay all this money out for things that we can see, and we forget about ourselves sometimes, and we forget about our family. So actually this small amount for a small period of time, hopefully you and your family will never need to use it. But this is definitely one of those documents. There's nothing, I was going to say nicer, and that's the wrong way to put it, but I'll stick with it. There's nothing nicer than if a son or daughter of our client phones the office and says, we found your details. Did mom or dad have a lasting power of attorney? And we go, yeah, we've got it here. It's all signed. It's ready to go, or it's already been registered, whatever it is. And actually being able to say yes, the relief is palpable.
Of course.
The flip side of that is, did mom or dad have a lasting power of attorney? Or we get a phone call quite often saying, they haven't, can you help now? And if it's too late, it's too late. So these are documents you want to have, and then hope you never need to use them. But you've got to speak to this young lady and her team to be able to do that. And one of the best ways tonight, honestly, if you don't want to speak to anyone on the team, like you said, they're there till 3 a.m. this morning, but just, you've probably got your phone next to you now, just text the word will to 66777 and we will call you back. You won't regret doing this. There's no risk to it. If you speak to Charlotte or a member of her team and at the end of the consultation you go, do you know what, this isn't for me, we'll just give you your money back. It's completely risk-free, but you won't do that after you've spoken to Charlotte and the team, because you'll realise just what a brilliant thing you've done for yourself and your family. But you've got to get in touch with us first.
It is. It's a complete weight off your shoulders and so affordable tonight or this morning, however you want to look at it. Price-wise, these prices are extra special, but only until close of business on Friday. So we do say do it now, because you know you'll forget. All of a sudden the weekend will be gone, won't it? And you'll think, oh gosh,
and you
didn't do it again.
You're just taking that first step, and that's usually the hardest thing, isn't it? So you're just getting in touch. Let's show you the offers once again, and then we'll run you through those different ways to get in touch. So we're going to start off with a will for you. If you want to get your will, it's on a fantastic offer, as we say. A suggested retail price of $249. The shop on TV offer is normally $99, but we've got an extra 10% discount. It comes down to £89, and you can even spread that cost with simpler law. $22.25 on your first of 4 interest-free payments.
There's just no reason not to do that, is there? £22 and 25 pence. I know you'll spend more than that probably on coffee, definitely on a night out. Or we went out and bought some wine on, oh gosh, I can't believe how much a glass of wine is now. No,
you don't.
Well, not this month, I'm not. But honestly, it's money so well spent and it's so affordable. Now, you might be thinking now, well, actually, lasting power of attorney, I should perhaps do that as well. So you can see we've got a great price on the lasting power of attorney. It should be £349. Our regular price when we have offers is £199, but for this show you have got that extra 10% off, so £179 is your price, and you can split that cost with 4 payments of £44.75. But I think lots of you, and don't panic if you do ring up and you just say about the will and you think, oh gosh, I wish I'd added on the lasting power of attorney. As long as you secure the deals today, before the close of business on Friday, you can change your mind and say, well, actually, I want the will and lasting power of attorney, because that saving is massive. You can see there should be 598 down to a normally 269, but you have got the extra 10% off, so 242. And with those 4 payments, £60.50 is the first of those 4 payments. Now, for the first 250 people that get in touch to secure the deals, you will also get this great book, and it is a brilliant book. Complete peace of mind for your family. And I think it's quite lethargic actually sitting down and filling all of this in. And it's all that vital information that your family will need.
Yeah, all your assets can be recorded in here, things like bank accounts and pensions. But more importantly nowadays, things like your digital accounts, your passwords for your computer, your utility bills that you can see there, mobile phone details, everything in one place, so that when you do finally pass, it's all in one place, so your family don't have to search and hunt around.
You used to look for all those shoe boxes, and there's always a secret place, isn't there, where someone's hidden something. But now a lot of vital information is on your tablet, and we were in that situation with a family member not that long ago, and bless him, he died and it wasn't expected at all, and they needed information off his tablet and nobody knew his password, and they were like, well, you know, what can we do? And it was only by chance that the grandson was walking past and he went, oh, I know Grandad's number, I know his passcode. He says, because I use his tablet.
Play on the tablet.
But it might be for personal things like photographs, and you've lost all of that information because you don't know the password. So that book is brilliant. Lots of people are always after that book when it's gone, so make sure you're one of the first to get in contact. And it's so easy to get in contact as well.
Yeah, really straightforward. You're going to go straight to Simpler Law directly. So you can go to Simpler Law's website, simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV, takes you through to those exclusive offers that we just talked about. The team are in the call centre right through until 3 a.m. So if you want to call the team, and you don't need any documents, you don't need anything with you, it's just taking that first step. So you're securing those offers, making sure you get that book. 0333 600 2600 is the phone number, and as I say, team there right through till 3 a.m. Or you can text.
And I think it always is so popular. The text is so easy. Perhaps you've been talking to someone, all day you've been chatting to people, you've been at work, you don't want to talk to anyone, you want to go to bed, or you're just off to work. Just all you need to do is get your phone, it's probably right there in your hand right now, and text the word will to 66777. That's it done. You've secured those prices, whether you want the will, the lasting power of attorney, you've done it. You've secured the price, you've secured your book, and you know that you've taken that first step. It's that first step we're so rubbish at. And sometimes you're desperate to get something done. We're desperate to get our stair carpet done. Have we done it? No, still not, because we haven't rung the person to come and look at the carpet. It's always that first step. So text that word will, and you've taken that first step, and that job will be done, and it'll be complete peace of mind. But if you are used to actually shopping on our website, you can go via our website as well.
Directly to shopontv.co.uk. As you scroll down there, you're going to see our partnership logos. Click on Simpler Law, which is right there, and it takes you through to those exclusive offers. All you've got to do, well, you can get in touch the other ways that you see there, but fill in that form, and once again, the team will get back to you.
And it's a really easy form.
Really straightforward.
Even I can pass that 100%. So,
as Hayley said, if you change your mind and you've written down that you're interested in the will, and then you change your mind and you want lasting power of attorney, they'll hold those offers for you.
As long as you've secured those deals, that's the important thing. And then even if you're going away on holiday for the next 3 weeks, secure the deals.
Yeah.
When the team ring you a little bit later on or tomorrow and say, when can we get together and sit down and talk about this properly, you can say, well, I'm away for 3 weeks, can I do it when I get back? You just find that right time, the right
It's
time
all
for
at your convenience.
What you're doing right now is making sure you're getting that price, that extra 10% off, and actually taking that first step to get the job done.
And we're going to go back and talk about wills. If you've been thinking about writing a will, we're working directly with Simpler Law. If you've just joined us, Simpler Law are experts in the field. This is all they do, estate planning. And they've offered us such great deals. And for the show until close of business Friday, you've got these extra discounts as well.
And I think we all think, it's not important to have a will because you've told your loved one, you've told the family, they know what you want. But sadly, if you haven't written a legally binding will, there is a will written out there for you, and it's what we call the government will. And very sadly, that government will is not going to be what you want. It honestly will not be what you want. It's not. It was written over 100 years ago, and how can one will work for everybody? Some of us aren't married.
Well, explain.
Some of you are married with children from different relationships. It honestly won't work for anyone. You have to write down legally what you want to happen with what you've worked so hard
Definitely.
for.
Let's welcome back Ian and Charlotte, and we'll talk you through why it's so important, isn't it, Ian, that everybody writes a will, because we're all going to need one.
Absolutely. It's your last act on planet Earth, and most people that we speak to, they've worked hard for what they've got, and they've got a good idea of what they would want to happen when they're no longer here. You know, there's a little thing flashing at the back of the mind going, I think I need a will. But we don't rush to think, I wonder what happens when I pass away. So, and there isn't a great deal of information out there, and there's also a lot of myth out there as well about
definitely.
Assumptions.
Yeah, we hear all the time that people are, well, we're common law husband and wife, so we'll
That's
be
what we
okay.
thought.
Yeah. And
That's not a thing, is it?
that's not a legal position at all. You're either married in a civil partnership or you're not. And then I've heard, even recently, I'm like, yeah, but if you've lived together for 2 years, you've got rights, and you're like, where's that come from?
Where did you hear that?
Well, I've read it somewhere, and I'm like, okay. And again, that's not a thing. So we hear lots and lots and lots, and people pick up snippets about what's happening in estate planning. We hear things like, oh, it's okay, I can give my son something, but it has to be for 4 years. And you're like, where's 4 years? And no, that's 7 years. And you're like, right, okay. So we don't sit down and get all the information that we need. But if you speak to someone like Charlotte, this is all that Charlotte does day in, day out. Some might even say she's highly trained and intelligent. So
That's number 2.
He's having his digs tonight, isn't
not
he?
at all.
Yeah.
But you were hit the nail on the head when you said we don't do anything else. This is what we specialise in. The client care team are just there to help you get your estate planning in place. You don't come to us for anything else, not divorces, not personal injury claims, not boundary disputes, no other area of the law. But when it comes to protecting your assets, this is what we specialise in. We've got over 250,000 wills out there, and touch wood, not one's failed. In fact, it'll be more than that because we've got 250,000 clients. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't make your own will, the government will give you one. And that's a default position that a lot of people aren't fully aware of. And that government will, as you've already alluded to, it can't be bespoke. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't care about anybody. It's just a default position. And it all starts with asking a question of the deceased, are you married or in a civil partnership? And then there's a series of yes or no questions. You can see it on the screen there if you squint. I've not.
Get really close.
Get close.
I've not got my reader, so I've got no chance. But in all seriousness, it doesn't ask anything about you or your family. It just asks about your status and your bloodline until it comes to a conclusion. And in some real, bizarre scenarios where there's no family, the money can end up going back to the government or to the Crown. So again, everything that you've worked hard for might not go to anybody. It's just heartbreaking when it happens. So you can do something amazing for yourself and for your loved ones. If you send the word will to 66777 tonight, Charlotte or a member of a team will give you a call and you can get this process going. And no one ever regrets making a will.
No.
But the sad thing is sometimes your family regret that you didn't, because it's only when you've passed away that all these myths and misconceptions come to light as such. And it's like, but that's not what Dad wanted, or that's not what Mum wanted, that's not what my brother wanted. And then they desperately want to fix it, but it's too late. So it can make a horrible time so much worse. So this is quite a selfless act, but you will definitely get something out of it. And if you're lucky, you get to speak to Charlotte as well.
Another
bonus. Best bit.
Yeah.
But we can't telepathically contact you.
No.
Yeah.
We do these shows to say, look, if you're thinking about making a will, or even if you're listening to me now, I'll say something semi-serious for once. If you're listening to me now, you can't honestly after this say that you didn't know about the government will. Because some people do pass away and they never knew that that's what was going to happen.
I think a lot of people are in that situation, and
We know
what really surprised me as well, everybody needs a will, and you need to do it early, not late, because you just don't know what's around the corner. But you told us a story, because I think as a couple, or if you're married with children, you think, well, yeah, I must write a will. But there's a story about a gentleman on his own, and he was a doctor or a surgeon or something. And he was he in his 40s, but he wasn't married, didn't have children, so he hadn't written a will. But he, gosh, if he was here now, would definitely, I would say, write a will.
Yes, sadly there are hundreds of stories like that. That one stayed with me because I remember seeing sort of the interview, but basically very quickly, you're quite right, he was a successful medical consultant, he was only in his 40s, he died suddenly, unexpectedly, he'd never married, he'd never had children. We'll never know the real reason as to why he didn't make a will, but you can guess, not married, no children, only young, so I'll get to it, like we all, we'll get to it.
When I meet someone, when I have kids.
Life gets in the way. We can always, I'll do it next year, I'll do it for this. We can put these goals in front of us, but you're quite right. The only time to do something is now. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow never comes, so you act now. We don't know why he didn't, but he died without a will. So it's sad that he's passed away. Then the story gets worse because it's told by his surviving mum and his brother, who explained that when he was born, his dad left the family. So again, we don't know the reason behind that, but his dad left and for his own reasons never had any contact with his son. So there was no birthday cards, nothing. But then his mum finds out that because he's died intestate, he hasn't got a will. The first question that's asked, was he married in a civil partnership? The answer was no. The next question was asked, does he have children? The answer was no. The next question, the rules of intestate ask is, do you have parents? The answer, of course, was yes, because his mum was alive. Right. They then had to track down his dad, that had had nothing to do with him for his entire life, literally walked away when he was born, and his dad inherited half of everything he worked hard for. Gosh. And everyone goes, that's not fair, that's not right. Yeah. And there's no moral position here, that's just the way that the law works. And unfortunately, we hear that too often. And the frustrating thing for us, and it sounds selfish and a bit weird for us to say it's frustrating, because it's not our money, it's not our family, but we know we can fix that with a 15-minute phone call. We know there are millions of people out there right now without a will, and we can fix that in 15 minutes for not a lot of money. The will's the equivalent of just over sort of 70 pence a day. There's no...
We are like you now. We'll sit down with friends. Where we've got friends that we went to dinner with a little while ago, probably about a year ago now, and we were talking about doing the will show, and they were like, "Oh, we haven't got a will," and we were like, "You are joking."
I spoke about it with our friends we went out the other week.
Yes,
and again, same. And
you're like, "You must write a will," and we're like, "It's so complicated." We're like, no, you need to speak to Shayley.
Yeah. You cannot believe how complicated it gets after one of you is no longer here or both of you no longer.
Yeah, how much worse.
Honestly, this is so selfless. If you pick up the phone tonight, if you pick up the phone this morning and you send that text and you end up speaking to Charlotte or a member of her team, one, you won't regret doing that. Mm-hmm. Two, you'll have definitely done something amazing, not just for yourself, but more importantly for the people around you. And three, you'll shock yourself. You'll actually find it quite cathartic. And I'm not saying you'll be laughing your head off as you go through, but it's not
as serious as you think.
No, it's just planning. It's just planning. Hopefully it's decades away, but let's plan for it now, because none of us know what the future holds.
No.
And then at least you've done it. Because what you don't want to do is die intestate, because no one wants to die with a government will, because it's not your will.
Well, it's the story you just told us there. And Charlotte, if anyone does get in touch, they don't need any documentation with them. It's just about taking that first step, and you talk them through all the way.
Yeah, they don't need anything. It's just making that first step today and making the choice to do something good. And once you've done that first step, we'll do everything else for you. We call it a hand-holding service, which we're really proud of, because once you've taken that first step, we'll give you a call back either later today or tomorrow to book in a consultation. It will be in the comfort of your own home. Get yourself a cup of tea, sit on the sofa, time that's best for you.
Great.
And we'll go at your pace. So some clients will come to us and they'll have all the answers, and that's fine. But other clients will come and it might take a little longer, and that's absolutely fine. There's no rush. We won't produce a document unless you're 100% happy with it and you understand the advice that we have given you as well.
That's what I absolutely loved, because when we dealt with Simpler Law for my mum's lasting power of attorney, it was just to sit down and a chat, and me and Mum worry about everything, panic about anything legal. You're like, oh gosh.
You were worried about terminology and not understanding
the words are going to be
well.
too long. I'm not going to have a clue what they're on about. I'm going to feel daft to ask that question. So I went, not at any point did I feel I couldn't ask a question.
No.
You put me so at ease. And then after, I thought, oh gosh, I wish I'd asked that, I felt comfortable just to email and say, oh, I just forgot to ask that. And like you say, you just went at our pace, and when we'd sorted it all, it was done.
Exactly. And we don't just leave you either once the will's complete. We make sure that you've got the will. We make sure you also understand it when it's in front of you and you're reading it. And then we also help you to sign it, because the will isn't actually legal unless it's been signed and witnessed correctly. So we will actually provide a guide. We're also there to speak to you over the phone, and we also offer a free validation service to make sure it has actually been signed correctly.
That's really important, isn't it? Because I remember when Hayley did lasting power of attorney with her mum, there was an issue with signatures.
Yeah, which we didn't realise. Mum's neighbour who's witnessed, she went by her middle name. We never knew until this point. And so it was all written sort of back to front and signed incorrect. And you noticed, otherwise that wouldn't have been sort of legally binding because the signatures weren't right.
Exactly, and that's what we're there for. And believe it or not, a will isn't actually valid without a wet signature. It's
Yeah.
technology these
In
days.
this day,
Yeah. But no, it has to be paper, wet signature, signed with 2 witnesses that can't be related to you. And we give you all of that advice as we go through the consultation. And like I say, give that validation service as well. So it's all the way through to make sure you've got a document that is valid and in place and legal.
And right for you. I love how you always saying it's your document.
It's unique. It's bespoke. Yeah. It's not our family and it's not our money, but when you speak to Charlotte and our client care team, you realise that enjoy might be too strong a word, but in all seriousness, we enjoy our job because we know we're doing something amazing for the clients. And amazing might sound like a stretch, but truthfully, we don't know how valuable, and neither do our clients when they're speaking to us, just how valuable that will's going to be until the point where it's needed. Because different clients want different things with it. You know, we talked about exclusions and things like that. Where
There's so much you can do with a will, which I don't think you really... I think you instantly think about finance.
Money you think about, don't you?
And actually, one of the worst things that you would never want to happen, but if 2 parents died and they had young children, in your will you could actually say who you wanted to look after those children.
You can appoint a guardianship clause in your will. So if you've got children under the age of 18, which is really, really important to do, you can actually put into your will who you'd like to take care of them. And a lot of the time as well, you might find it's not actually family. A lot of clients might choose friends because they've got, you know, the same morals
Same
or
values,
but if you haven't obviously put that guardianship clause in your will, then you're essentially leaving it up to the hands of the courts, really, because
well, 2 sets
only
of
if you've got-
grandparents.
That could cause another family upset, couldn't it? 'Cause
Exactly. Not only have you got children that are under the age of 18 that have lost their parents, that are going through a difficult time already, they then could potentially watch this fall out because, as you say, you could have 2 sets of grandparents that have got all good intentions to step forward and take care of these children that actually might not have even been the people you'd have chosen. And actually, in that scenario, if they're arguing and it goes through the courts, worst case, the children can actually become a ward of the court at that point and not actually be with any family. So
you're taking
all
that away, aren't you?
it takes is picking up the phone today and putting something like that guardianship clause
and
in
all
place.
those things that we won't think about, you will ask.
Yeah.
And even down to pets, because sometimes pets are people's
Most
children.
of the time. They're more important than the children.
I know.
But yeah, you can actually put a gift of pet into your will, so you can state who's going to look after your pets. You can actually leave a cash sum with your pets as well, if you want to leave some money for that family member or friend.
Or leave to
take care of them.
charity or...
Yeah, charity.
Rehoming services.
Right, yeah.
Again, it's your will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can
It's
do
what
what
you
you
want.
wish to do. We've got all the questions, you've got all the answers. So all it is a conversation, and you will know everything. We'll take it at your pace, but we're producing a document that's right for you, and that's the main.
And it's a legal document, because Ian, a lot of people will know you can get like...
A template.
Wait till you see his face. You can get a template, can't you? And you can write your own will, which you do have to pay for, but they can go horribly wrong, can't they?
Yeah, I can service my car as well, but I don't know how an engine works. But I could go and watch a video on how to do it.
Don't do that.
Don't do it on the way back.
I'm not being facetious. Yes, of course you can. I mean, the great thing today is you can find information out about most things. But truthfully, if you're not qualified in this area, how do you know that you're giving yourself the right tax advice? How do you know that you're doing the distribution correctly? Do you understand the difference between first death and second death? And I'm not saying this to make it sound complicated, because actually, when you speak to the client care team, it's far from complicated. But what we will do is we'll put you in a position where you make a fully informed decision about your will. So at the end of it, we'll only draft you a document when you're 100% happy with the instructions you've given us and you're 100% happy with the advice we've given you. And then you get your will and you know that it's right. And actually, as we've just said, Charlotte's literally just said that a will's not valid until it's signed, dated and witnessed correctly. So it's one thing to do it yourself, it's another thing to actually have someone to validate that and say it's being done correctly.
Yeah.
And it might not sound like a difficult thing, but we'll also nag you a little bit so that you don't put it in the drawer and forget about it. But worst about making your own will is if you, and I'm not trying to be clever here, but if you don't know anything about estate planning, you don't know anything about the inheritance tax rules, you don't know anything about the legislation that surrounds this, how do you know that you've done it right?
That's it, and it changes, doesn't it?
The template will allow you to make the most basic of wills. Now, I could sit here and be pragmatic and say that's better than nothing, but we've just seen far too many horror stories, and it's almost worse than not doing a will. And what I mean by that is you can see that someone's intention was there, you can and they got it wrong, and again you go, but they could have done that with us for virtually the same, because you still have to pay for these templates.
Yeah. Tell us the story about it was like a grandparents, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was.
And they'd written their own will, and that was the situation where you were saying about first and second death.
He'd written the granddad, because it was the grandkids that came to us and asked for our advice. But basically, he'd done 2 templates exactly the same for him and his wife, and just followed a template, a well-known template. So it was very basic, but it asked about, do you want to leave cash gifts? And he'd written in that he wanted to leave £20,000 to each of his grandchildren. But the way that he put it in the will, that money was due to come out when one of them died. So on first death, when there's a couple, there's usually, you call it a first death and second death. And it's not unusual on first death that person wants everything to go to the survivor.
Right.
And then on second death, because they know that person doesn't need the money, or perhaps a house needs to be sold. In this case, there was no cash, it was just a house. But the gentleman owned the house in his own name. His wife didn't own the house. So instead of the house going to his wife, the first thing that was coming out of his will was these £20,000 cash gifts to his grandchildren. When he did the will, apparently he had 3 grandchildren. When he passed away, he had 8.
Oh, gosh.
So now there's £160,000 in his will that's due to go to grandkids.
And there's no
before
money.
The house needs to be sold to me. So now it's starting to get really messy. And you could see what the intention was. The worrying thing is his wife had also got a will that was exactly the same. And if she now passed away, that cash gift was going to be duplicated.
Again.
And effectively, all the money was going to pass down to the grandchildren, when again, when you read the will, that wasn't the intention. So you could see what he was trying to achieve, but just the way that he'd written it, it created a real problem and a real mess. And again, it's all avoidable. When you speak to Charlotte, or a member of the client care team, not only are you getting the best advice, we always follow best practices, it's insured. If we make a mistake, you're insured for up to £5 million, and touch wood, we never have, because we have 100% compliance checking as well. We double check everything that we've done. We check our advice. We check that it's right for you. So you can be absolutely confident that what you're going to get is exactly what you need. And as I said before, if you get to the end of the consultation and you go, do you know what, I didn't like that. Charlotte was as horrible as Ian said she could be on the TV. Now we might,
You got 2 nights.
now we might have more than one Charlotte. Which one am I talking about?
There's only one Charlotte.
But again, in all seriousness, if you get to the end of the consultation, you go, do you know what, that wasn't for me, or I don't like this, just say, this is not for me, I'll have my money back, please, and we'll give you your money back.
Right.
But you won't.
No.
And the reason you won't is you'll get someone other than Charlotte.
Oh, he's shocking.
He's so Brett, I'll wait.
I can't kick him from here.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is so simple to do this. It's so simple to work with a professional team that know exactly what should be done, and to make sure what you've worked so hard for, actually what you want to happen with it when you've gone,
goes where you want it
does
to
go to your loved ones, does go to friends, does go to charity, and doesn't go perhaps to someone you don't want it to go to. Because the government will that will fall in place, and there is a government will, honestly, and we were like, really? But yeah, there is a government will that if you haven't written your own legally binding will, that will automatically fall into place, and it is not what you want to happen.
It's just a series of yes/no questions, and if you don't fit into that, you're
And no family can't they?
No.
Whether you're like us and you've been living together for 34 years, but you're not married, whether you're married with children, or whether you're married with children from different relationships, whether you're single, whatever situation you're in, this doesn't work. This is that. You know, when the neighbour, oh gosh, it's really sad, the neighbour down the way died, and you know, they've got a really nice property, and I know they wanted to leave it to charity, but actually it's gone to a long lost cousin who lives in Australia. They'd never met him, and that's because those yes/no questions, that's how it happens. That's how the money goes to the wrong place. you'd kick yourself if you were looking down and you're watching your whole family fall out because they knew what you wanted, and what is actually happening is the government will, and that's not what you want at all. Everything's so affordable, isn't it, as well? There's no reason not to do it. If you're still at home thinking, yeah, we haven't done it, we should do a will, take that first step tonight. Because honestly, this will be one of the best things you ever do.
Exclusive offers with extra discounts we've got for you, but only until the close of business on Friday, remember. So details there on the screen for writing your will. The family and estate will should be a suggested retail price of £249. Our offer price, £99, but we're going to give you that extra 10%. We were just talking, another 10% off, so it comes down to £89. Also offering you interest-free payments, so £22.25 on your first of 4 interest-free payments if you do want to spread the cost. It's so important to take that first step, isn't it?
So affordable. You won't even really notice. That's £22.25 for 4 months, and that is the will sorted. Honestly, as easy as sitting with us now and chatting. You don't even really need any information.
What a peace of mind.
Sit down and talk to the team, and they'll make sure that will is bespoke to you, exactly what you want to happen. But we are going to go into lasting power of attorney. We'll give you the prices, and you might think, well, I've heard about lasting power of attorney, but I don't really understand what it is. This is just as important as a will. Should be £349. Our normal special offer is £199, but you have got that extra 10%, so £179 is your deal if you make sure you secure these prices before close of business on Friday. That splits to 4 payments of £44.75. And when you think about what you spend on coffee, what you spend on a takeaway, what you spend when you pop into the supermarket for some milk and then come out with £60 worth of stuff and you still haven't got a dinner there, honestly, that is
forgotten the milk.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so affordable to do. But you might, as you've watched the programme, you might have already been in touch and say, I want the will. And then when you watch us for the next sort of 5 minutes or so, think, actually, we should ask for the will and lasting power of attorney. As long as you secure the prices, whatever you decide to go for, it will be the price you see on the screen.
Yeah, and the best saving of all, you can see the details for, are the will and lasting power of attorney. That suggested retail price close to £600, which again, for what you get, is brilliant. However, the shop on TV offer should have been £269, but it's down with that extra 10% off to £242. That comes down to £60.50 on your first of 4 interest-free payments if you do want to spread the cost. Remember, the first 250 people to take advantage of the offers will get hold of this fabulous book. It's called What My Family Should Know. And Ian, this came about through the planning department, didn't it?
It was through our estate administration department. So when you pass away, quite a few people have to go through what's called probate.
Right.
Again, another myth is people think, oh, I've made a will, I don't have to go through probate, but we can explain all of that. But yeah, some really sort of fascinating figures, but terrifying figures as well came out when we were putting this together, because we know that when someone passes away, we have to gather their assets in and we have to pay off creditors, and then we follow the terms of the will. And in gathering their assets in, you've got to speak to obviously banks, pension providers, life companies, wherever that money may be. So that makes this job easy. So again, it's another selfless thing. What we discovered is there's actually believed to be £5 billion of unclaimed pension pots in the UK.
Wow, 5
billion.
But then if you think about it, I couldn't tell you every job my dad had done and what pensions he had.
And this really helps, because then it finds out £2 billion of unclaimed life insurance policies.
Oh, just sat there.
Not being claimed, so that money should be with your loved ones. And it's believed there's 850 million just sat in dormant bank accounts, again, where it's extremely rare or unlikely that this client is 127 now. And I'm going to be cynical, but I don't think the banks are rushing around to try and
give it out.
But if it isn't found, it gets lost. So that's where this book was born out of. It's had a brilliant response since released here, and on these shows. Look, we want to encourage people as much as we can to do something amazing for themselves and the family. That's why we do these exclusive offers through Shop on TV, because we want to make it affordable and accessible. And we give these to the first 250 as that extra incentive as well, because you've done something amazing, so we give you that as well and say a well done. But honestly, we can only help you if you send us that text or give us that call. So if you sat there and your phone's next to you now, please just send the word will to 66777. We'll call you back, and you won't regret sending that text.
Yeah.
Because what will happen is if you go to bed tonight, you'll wake up tomorrow and life will get in the way again.
It does, yeah, absolutely.
Doing something tomorrow, doing something the next
It'll
week.
be Christmas before we know it, then it'll be spring, then we'll be booking the summer holiday.
I'm gutted for Sean that I've just heard that lightning has struck twice and that you've now missed 2 holidays because you left it too late. But I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to cause any...
That'll be a lovely drive.
A weekend away at the end of Sober October should have been £360. Let's book it. That's a few days. We must book it. We'll book it. Went to book it today, gone up to £1,000. And you're not going to do it, are you? Do it whilst you've got the extra deal. But the biggest thing is, it's not always the money. We're just rubbish at getting ourselves into action, aren't we?
Look, Charlotte's already mentioned, obviously Charlotte's got first-hand experience, and so have the client care team, that every consultation ends in a very similar way. I'm glad I did that. Some people feel a huge weight lifted because they can only find out that there was these potential issues when they've gone through it.
That could have happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you can only know what you know, and it sounds arrogant, but the reason you come to us is because we do know more than you. But you have all the answers, we have all the questions.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, you get the document that's right for you and is bespoke for you. And honestly, everyone says, well, 1, that was nowhere near as morbid as I thought it was going to be. But 2, wow, I'm glad I did that. But we can only help you if you get in touch. So please get in touch because you won't regret that you did.
And it's so easy to get in touch, isn't it?
Yeah, look, the number of times someone will be listening to me out their ear now while they're looking at the phone.
Yeah.
Well, you sit there like that, like your phone's
Just go to your messages now, type the word will, and send it to 66777, and I promise you, you won't regret that you did that. You've done something amazing. You just will never know how amazing it was. Yeah, and I'll repeat myself as well. If at the end of the consultation with our client care team, you go, do you know what? That isn't as advertised. That was rubbish. That was horrible. I thought they were useless. You won't. But if you do, just ask for your money back. We'll give you your money back.
Great. That's great.
Complete peace of mind, isn't it?
This is risk-free.
Yeah. Do get in contact. Just have a little look at the list. So you might be off to bed or you might be off to work. Do it right now because you'll forget. Though you've got the prices until close of business on Friday, you will forget. So do it right now this minute. 3 really simple ways. Go via simplelaw.co.uk/shop on TV. That makes sure you get that extra 10% off. Jump onto the phone right now. The team are right there. They're there till 3 a.m. and that's 0333 600 2600. You don't need to know anything. Just ring up and say, I want to do a will.
That's a great point.
I want to secure the price. That's all you need to do. But the biggest and best way is to text the word will.
Yeah, text the word will, WILL, to 66777 if you want to do the easiest way of all. You don't have to speak to anyone right now, but if you wish...
And you've done it.
Yeah, it's there. You've taken that
There's
first
so many things we put off. My mum's patio needed doing for, about 10 years, I think, and we'll do it next year. We'll wait till spring. Spring will come, summer, and then it's too cold now.
Always things
we'll
get
wait till next spring. Yeah. And it was treacherous. She was tripping over the slabs, and then all of a sudden we thought, let's ring someone.
Let's get it.
We rang someone. They did it in the next few weeks, and we're like, why didn't we do that 10 years ago? And it is that complete peace of mind. This is something that's so important. And of course, we've talked about wills, which are obviously so important because if you haven't written your own, the government will fall in place and it's not what you want. But something that is just as important is lasting power of attorney.
Yeah, and this is something that you might have heard of the terminology. You might have heard of it recently.
Sure. Yeah.
It's been featured on lots of programmes recently. Lasting power of attorney is something that you might have heard of, but you're not quite sure what it is. So Charlotte, if anyone's watching at home and they're not sure what it means, can you explain to everyone?
Yeah, these are really powerful documents. So these are documents that you want to put in place now.
Yes.
So while you're alive, but if you lose your capacity, so you're unable to make your own decisions, it could be ill health, it could be, for example, like dementia, or you may have had a stroke, it could be a freak accident.
Yeah.
So these apply to any ages. A lot of people think it's just the elderly because of things like dementia, and obviously elderly tend to get more illnesses, but it could be any age.
Yeah.
These documents mean you can nominate who you trust to essentially step into your shoes and make decisions on your behalf if you're unable to. So really, really powerful documents.
Because you'd imagine, you know, I look after and help mum now, so surely I can do all of that. Or as a couple, husband and wife, or as, you know, a partnership.
You just presume.
You think, well, surely if something happened to Sean, of course I'm going to look after him. Of course I'm going to. But the truth is, when you really think about it, and you said this to me, you were like, well, you can go into your mum's bank now and take money out of her bank.
Exactly.
I can go into Sean's bank now.
While you've got capacity.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you try and call up an institution, they're going to ask for the account holder. And if that's not you, you're not getting
That's
further.
where it stops,
and if
yeah.
someone's actually more vulnerable as well, it's even more difficult to get through there. So it's those same assumptions, I think, with a will, that you just assume, oh, well, you know, we're married, or I love this person, or, you know, everyone knows this is what they would want. But unfortunately, without those documents, that isn't the case. So you need to have these powers of attorney in place.
Yeah.
You know, we like to think you're never going to need them.
Yes.
But if life does throw you that curveball, you've got them there for the people that you trust to step forward. It's about having that control again and having documents in place that you know you've got the right people stepping in for you.
And you, like you keep saying, them, because there are two different types of
Yes.
lasting power of attorney. The first one is property and affairs, so it's financial, isn't it?
Yeah, so property and financial affairs. I think a lot of people can relate to this one because money
Yes.
makes the world go round.
Yes,
It doesn't
yeah.
just stop because you've lost capacity. So this document means whoever you've nominated, so it can be one person, it can be multiple people.
It can be a family member, a dear friend,
Yeah.
someone you trust.
Again, your choice, whoever
Yeah.
you
Someone
trust
you
to
trust
be able
is
to
the
do
key,
that for
yeah.
you, yeah. So they can access your bank accounts, continue paying bills, claiming pensions,
Yeah,
claiming
because that all
benefits.
needs to be done, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
this all keeps going. They can also manage property. So if you've got a property that needs to be sold, for example, to pay for care,
Yeah.
they can actually do that for you. So anything from a financial point of view, they can step into your shoes. When on the power of attorney document, you're actually called the donor. So you're actually donating your power to the people that you trust
Right.
to step into your shoes and make those decisions on your behalf. So they essentially become you.
Yeah.
I
in the
think
easiest
that's the most forward way to explain it. They become
can-
you in all that decision making.
Yeah, they can go to the bank then with that
Yeah.
document and manage those things.
Because
for you
life
straight
does
away.
keep going on and those bills have to be paid. There's
Yeah.
things that need to be sorted out.
Exactly.
And you can't. Again, the government won't care that you're the daughter or you're the partner. You know, legally, you've got no rights at all. And we came to you for Mum's lasting power of attorney. And honestly, the lady we dealt with, she became a friend, and at no point did I think, oh, that's a daft question. I just felt really relaxed, could ask anything, just sat down and chatted the answers out of us, really. But when we did sit down and chat, and we came to you for the financial side of things, I didn't realise at that point that there were two lasting powers of attorney. And when you told me about, or told us about the second one, I was like to Mum, well, that's to me more important than the financial side, really.
Yeah, this one's definitely more emotional. So health and welfare. So same again, it's the personal people that you trust. It could be the same as your finances. It could be different. A lot of people might say, oh, well, actually, my son or daughter is better with the finances and the other actually might be better to do with my health.
Yeah.
You can have both. That's up to you again. It's your choice. But the health document means that those people can decide where you're living. So if they want to care for you at home themselves, they can make that choice. If you do need to go into care, they can decide which care home that is, where that care home is. They wouldn't be able to do that without this document. Even down to things like what you're wearing and what you're eating, which may seem really trivial, we take for granted every day when
so
we get
important,
up.
isn't it?
Really important. It makes you you.
Yeah.
You know, you like to get your nails done, you like to have your hair done, you might like to wear a certain lipstick that your loved ones are going to know. Even to the point you might actually have someone you actually don't maybe want to visit you if you're in a care
Don't
home.
want to
Yeah.
visit you.
And again, your loved ones are going to know that. So they can actually, again, make those decisions for
And they
you.
are really important things, because you'd be
Really important.
devastated, wouldn't you? My Auntie Cora, she loved her nails polished, she loved her hair done, and if you walked in and her hair was a mess and her nails weren't polished,
And you
it
couldn't
just
do
wouldn't have
anything
been
about
Auntie
it,
Cora.
yeah.
Exactly.
And I think the thing we did wrong is we waited till Mum was old. My friend was in a terrible accident in her 40s and has been in a care home for 10 years. And it's so important that they had lasting power of attorney, because she was vegetarian. She has a certain
All those
way.
little
She
things.
loves to
Massively,
dress.
yeah.
She loves to do her makeup and things. And all those things would have been, are so important to her.
But they
Yeah,
become
definitely,
even
they make-
more important. don't they?
You've
Definitely.
hit the nail on the head there, because to anyone listening to this, and when I first read about what you could do with a health and welfare lasting power of attorney, it almost sounds trivial.
It's not.
It only sounds trivial because we take for granted that
we do it.
we eat the food that we want to eat, dress the way we want to dress, live where we want to live. When you've not got the power to do that, these seemingly trivial things are incredibly important because it's what, we've said it already, it's what makes you. So they complement each other brilliantly in so much as one deals with your finance, so you're right, money makes the world go round, but one empowers your attorneys to basically help you continue living the life as best as you can, the way that you did before.
And there's lots of stories like with wills when you hear when things go wrong.
Hundreds.
There was 100. I bet you'll know a lot more than us. But you tell us about. Well, actually, we saw it in the paper that nurse who wanted to bring her mum out of her home for Christmas, and she got. They thought she'd kidnapped her mum, really, didn't
Well,
they?
she didn't have power of attorney, did she?
No, these stories have been running literally for decades now. There's regular ones pop up where you can understand, there's a brilliant relationship between mum and daughter. The daughter quite rightly thinks, there's no problem with me bringing mum home for a day or bringing her home for Christmas.
Course,
And
You presume.
You presume. But then if you take a step back and take a pragmatic legal view, it's like, what right does a child have over their parent? Really?
Yeah, to take them anywhere,
And when they're in the care system, so they haven't got the authority to bring them out. So typically what happens, this is why these stories, the nurse, who you're thinking, well, she's a nurse as well, she can care for a mum. I think she was, the police found her in a supermarket car park finishing the Christmas shop because technically her mum had been reported as kidnapped. And again, that sounds melodramatic, but she has been taken without permission from where she's supposed to be kept safe. So it doesn't matter that it's your daughter that's done that. If you don't have the authority to do that, one of the first things that the power that's given to an attorney under the health and welfare one is, well, where does the donor live? So then you've got a voice. Don't get me wrong, the care system, social service, all have to be involved. You can't take your mum home and stick her in a damp cellar. But in all seriousness, again, without the lasting power of attorney, you've got no decision-making power. You just hope that they're going to listen to you, but unfortunately, they're not obliged to.
We heard a story on television
just the other day,
and this was a married couple, been married for years, and he had a really bad and rare brain issue, went into hospital, and they wouldn't let him out because he couldn't look after himself. They wouldn't let him out to his wife because she didn't have lasting power of attorney.
She's going, I'm his wife, I'll look after him. It's like,
and she was on the programme saying, I could not believe, and she had to prove that she was the right person to look after him, because that's what you have to do. If you haven't got lasting power of attorney, you have to go through
the court protection.
Which is awful, isn't it?
Awful. It takes forever, which is the worst thing. The interesting thing, just digress for 2 seconds, is with a will, and with things like lasting power of attorney, there's one thing that we never speak about enough, I think, and that's the unknown factor of grief and bereavement and the distress that comes with all of that. Emotions are really high with a will. So I'm not saying that having a will makes a bereavement any easier, but making your own will means that situation doesn't get worse, because everyone knows those were your wishes are being carried out. Likewise with the lasting power of attorney, again, it's selfless. It's for your benefit because you're going to be appointing people that you trust to look after you. But it is selfless as far as the people around you, because they then don't have to go to the court of protection. Whereas what you're hoping for, if you don't make a lasting power of attorney and life does throw you that curveball, you're hoping that the people you would have chosen for yourself are the ones that go to the court of protection. That isn't always the case. But then they've got the process of going through almost a year application. It's typically taken a year for these applications to be heard. It's over £1,100 in fees if you do it yourself.
They've got to find the money for.
So it's really expensive. It takes an absolute age. There you can see on the screen there, just the application fee alone is £421. Well, the exclusive ideal world offer for lasting power of attorney is only £179. You could have both documents for less than one application fee with a court of protection.
And it's there just in case.
It's there. Once you've got it, it's there. If you want to change it in the future, you can speak to us. You've got to act today on what's right for you today. Your attorneys today might not be your attorneys in 5 years' time.
Right.
Me and my wife have had these in place for years and years and years. Our boys now are approaching adulthood, so I've no doubt in a few years' time, if life hasn't thrown us that curveball, we'll probably update them and perhaps name the boys. Mind you, the youngest is a drummer and is a bit mental, so
Bless.
I'm not sure I'm allowed to say that. My wife might have a word to say.
I don't think you are.
In a good way. In a good. Well,
That was
just think
a
about.
term of endearment.
It was a term. Think about all the drummers that you know. I'm thinking of Animal from the Muppets. That's the kind of.
Bless him.
But in all seriousness, you know, as they grow older, we might change.
Yeah.
But the worst thing you can do is go, well, I'll wait till my kids are old
Yeah,
enough,
that's really
or I'll wait
important.
till this, because
I think, again, like we said earlier, I think you instantly think it's when you're older that you need this. But obviously, we are getting poorly earlier on in life. Accidents happen.
It's the accident.
I think
Whenever.
I think the youngest case of dementia in the UK now, someone's in the
It's
20s. It's
20s,
terrifying.
yeah, it's
I know, okay, that's incredibly rare, but actually the statistics get even more terrifying the older we get, to the point where you actually don't want to look at them.
No.
But again, what you can do is plan for the worst, but hope for the best.
Yeah.
Once you've got these documents in place,
Forget about them, don't you?
we'll help you draft them, we'll help you make sure they're valid. It's up to you whether you register them now or not with the Office of Public Guardian, but the important thing is that they're in place, they're signed, dated and witnessed correctly. We help you do all of that. In a weird way, it'd be great if it was a waste of money,
Yeah.
Yes.
because that means that your family have never needed to
Yeah.
use them.
Yeah.
But there's nothing, I keep wanting a better word than nicer. When we get that phone call from a family member and they say, did mum or dad do a lasting power of attorney? And we can say yes, you can feel the relief at the other end.
Yeah.
Because like, my dad's just been diagnosed with dementia, or my mum's just had an accident,
But
and we
it's
don't know what to do.
there,
It's
yeah.
like, here's the document that they did a year ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Because it's too late if they have then had the accident or
Yeah, you
dementia.
can only make it when no one can do it for you. There's only you can make your own lasting power of attorney. You can only do it whilst you've got capacity. If you deem not to have got capacity, the only route is for your loved ones to go through the court protection. We today are still registering something called enduring powers of attorney, which have not been around since 2007, but people signed them with
Right.
us 20 years ago. Sadly, something's happened now. Those documents are getting registered and the family can step into the shoes. That's the power of that document.
Yeah.
20 years ago when they did that, they did it, stored it with us and went, hopefully I'll never need that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that document's still there now and it's being put to use.
And when you say about registration, Ian, you don't have to do that straight away. You can wait.
Personal choice, isn't it?
Yeah,
Some do it
it is.
immediately, some store it because me and my wife have not registered ours. And truthfully, you know, it's stored with our company as you would expect. So they're there ready to go to the Office of Public Guardian. The Office of Public Guardian are the ones that will verify the document. They validate it effectively and it gets registered with them. They charge a fee. It's going up to £92 as a maximum per document. There are some remissions where it's half that price and some situations where it's absolutely free to register.
Okay.
Right.
And without being flippant about £92, in the big scheme of things, that's actually nothing to register it if it means that your attorneys can
We
actually
registered
straight away.
mums straight away.
Yeah, some do.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
It really is. Again, it's your choice. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of the documents. But the point is that you've got them and they're signed and they're legal and they're in place. Because if the worst did happen, your attorneys can still register them at that point.
Right.
It doesn't have to be you. So the point is that you've
Right.
actually got the documents in place.
And when people get in touch, Charlotte, they don't need any documentation. They don't need
No.
anything. It's just about taking that first step.
You've just got, it's the hardest part. Take that first step today is all you need to do.
That's the most
We will
difficult
do the
thing,
rest.
isn't it?
It
Yeah.
is. It's the hardest part. But it's once you've got that done, we will deal with everything else for you. We'll lead you all the way through at your pace, comfort of your own home, date and time that's best for you. And I can promise you might actually have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Whoever you speak with.
And you
Well,
always
you've got
say,
such a good team.
I love the fact that you deal with the same person as well, don't you?
Yes, you'll stay with the same consultant. So when you call through, you can always speak to that same person. If they're busy at the time, they will get back to you.
Great.
So you'll always be with that same consultant that knows, obviously, your wishes in place.
And when we talk about the reviews, we always talk about the people who are mentioned, because more than the company itself, the whole process, it's all about the client care team, the people that
They'll
you deal
mention
with.
Charlotte, you know, they'll mention who they actually dealt with. And when you look at those 5-star reviews, and we've got Charlotte's right here.
What a coincidence. Our consultant Charlotte explained everything in clear, unambiguous terms. Pricing was made clear and cooling off period was explained. Ian's mentioned that. Consultant was very pleasant and caring and sensitive to our needs. All necessary legal terms were explained in plain and simple English. I think that's really important.
You hear that a lot, because I think sometimes you'll think it'll be really complicated. I don't understand the wording. You don't need to know any of that, because Simpler Law, they will talk you through everything, so you will understand it. That's why I absolutely loved. No question I felt was too daft. Everything made sense.
Alison said this: great service, extremely helpful and very informative. And Morgan, who managed my will, was extremely pleasant and helpful and made the whole procedure very easy and very clear for me to understand. Couldn't have asked for better. Really nice man. Oh, that's a promotion there for Morgan.
These reviews do concern me a little.
They're too good. This next one we've got for you. I'd been putting off doing the will because I thought it would be complicated and take ages, but it was so easy, and now I don't have to think about it anymore. I can also ring up if I need to change anything. That's another great point. If people have already got a will and they want to get in touch and take advantage of the offers, they can still get in touch.
Absolutely, yeah, because is your will still relevant? Is it actually valid? Is it signed correctly?
Great point, yeah.
You know, you might not have actually looked at it for a few years. You might have written your will 10
Life
years
might
ago,
have
and things
changed,
may have
yeah.
changed. If you've got grandchildren, for example,
Right.
if you've got gifts you want to leave. So have a look at it, and if it's not relevant, then...
And there's a lot of legal things that change as well, isn't there?
Yes.
With
Been changes in legislation that
Inheritance.
might affect the way that your will was written and
Yeah.
do with reviewing. The funny thing, it's not unusual for us to speak to clients and say, have you got a will then? Because we need to know if they're changing anything. And they say, yeah, I think I did one 10 years ago. And then they might find it, and they actually find it and go, oh, actually, it was 15. Oh, and actually, actually,
Or they don't find it.
Oh, the funny thing is they'll say something like, and I've been married twice since then.
I don't.
And
Yeah.
There's been a lot of change.
well, the interesting thing with surveys is surveys about people that have made wills, which has always stayed sort of similar, and the minority have made a will, the majority haven't, is the question is, have you made a will? The question should be, have you made a will? Is it relevant? Is it up to date?
Yes.
Is it signed, dated and witnessed correctly? So when you see these surveys that say X percentage have made a will, I'm like, well, that's fine, but how many of those wills will
Yeah.
actually work?
Yeah.
So again, when Charlotte says it's a hand-holding service, it's not in a patronising way. It's to make sure that you get exactly what's right for you, that you understand all of it. Again, without being patronising, we put you in a position where you make a fully informed decision about your documents, and then we make sure that they get signed, dated and witnessed correctly, so they're going to work.
Well, we don't know, do we?
No,
You know,
it's not our
I'm rubbish
field
at
of
science. I couldn't do anything to do with science.
That's a surprise.
Generalisation, just as science.
Bunsen burner,
Everything
terrible
else,
accidents at school.
Oh, no.
But yeah, I had to do general science in the end because I couldn't manage physics or chemistry, and I failed that.
But we all only know what
But
we know,
we
don't
absolutely,
Yeah.
we only know what we know. So you need to deal with somebody that truly does know, and someone that makes it just so easy. And you've got the details for your will on the screen right now. And it's so important that you get a professional will written, because if you don't, there is the government will. And you just mentioned there about talking to people that say, oh, I've got a will, and yeah, I've been married again since then. Wasn't there a story, Charlotte? And it was a lady, and she was living with a partner. They'd got a house together, and she only just discovered that her will, it would have all still gone to her ex-husband
Ex-husband.
because they hadn't divorced.
Yeah, well, yeah, ex-husband wasn't actually legally ex-husband.
Yeah, so they were
Technically wasn't.
separated.
Yeah.
Yeah, they saw each other as exes,
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
hadn't physically divorced.
Yeah, she had a new partner that she'd built a whole life with, home, everything for years, but actually had a husband that they hadn't actually, she hadn't actually divorced from. For, well, no particular reason, just hadn't got around
Yeah,
to it,
yeah.
but actually legally standing without a will, if she'd passed away, everything that she owned
Went to him.
yeah.
First share goes to
Whereas-
your spouse, yeah.
Yeah, so again, it doesn't take into account that first question on the government will, the government rules of
Are you
intestacy.
married? Yes.
Are you married? Yes or no? So she'd made this life with a new partner, but actually, rather than it going to
I mean,
the
that's
partner...
frightening,
would have
isn't
gone-
it?
Yeah.
Because this is the government will. Lots of people watching won't realise, Ian, that if you haven't written your own will, that's your will right there on the
Correct,
screen.
yeah. I think that is the biggest shock for families when they contact us to say, Dad's passed away, he didn't have a will, but he wanted A, B and C to happen, and we have to sort of explain, actually, he's died intestate, so the rules of intestacy are going to determine how the estate's distributed, and that's when it can get quite messy and quite upsetting at an already difficult time. That's why I said making a will is really selfless. You will definitely get something out of it, but the government will, by definition, is just a default position. It's, if you've got the government will, it means you've not made your own, so therefore there has to be a fallback. Otherwise, it's just anarchy.
Yeah, because you look at it and think that's so wrong. Because when you see what happens, you're like, that's so wrong. But there has to be something.
And if you think about it, because we hear a lot, well, it's okay because I've told my oldest son what needs to happen. Well, that doesn't give him any legal authority. And then what happens if the youngest son decides that he's decided he was told what wanted to happen? Nothing would ever be resolved.
Pressure, isn't it, to expect from children?
Yeah, and we never, and without casting aspersions, emotions are high, and money's in the mix. Big, small, whatever amount, emotions are high and money's in the mix. That's a powder keg. All of that can be settled with, oh, brilliant, Dad did it well.
This is what he wanted.
And this is what he wanted.
It's all there.
And it's all there. And, you know, and usually they'll sit down and they'll tell the kids that they've done it as well. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But the reason it's selfless is it removes the ifs, buts and maybes. It removes the ambiguity. You've done something amazing, not just for you, but your family.
Because you'd be devastated, wouldn't you? And I don't know what happens when you pass, but I like to think that Dad looks down. He's been leaving me white feathers just recently, which is just when you need them. And you'd just be gutted, wouldn't you, looking down? Your family's all falling out because they knew what you wanted to happen.
What your wishes were, but it wasn't really there.
And it's not happening. And it doesn't make the situation easier, but it doesn't make it better, but perhaps it does make it that little bit easier, because I bet there's a lot of family fallout when there isn't a will and people are seeing things happening that they know.
It's the single biggest reason, sadly. The single biggest reason for a breakdown in family relationships is a bereavement, and open bracket, typically where there isn't a will, close bracket, because everyone's decided their own opinion, or they've decided that Mom said this on a deathbed, or Dad said it can get very messy very quickly, and it's really sad because it's entirely avoidable. Yeah,
because there's nothing you can do if you haven't got a will. That government will falls in place.
And again, this is the thing, because families get really, really angry, and they kind of get angry at the messenger as well, saying, but this isn't what Dad wanted, and we're like, we know, but did he make a will? And they're like, no. Then that is the only way. It's really, really option A or option B, option 1 or option 2.
Right.
Door number 1, door number 2. There is no grey area. You either pass away with a valid will in place that you've made and your wishes will be carried out, or you pass away without a will and then you will get the government will. The term is you're said to have died intestate. That means the rules that were set up 100 years ago are going to determine what happens to your estate, and it doesn't care about you. Doesn't care about me, doesn't care about Charlotte, doesn't care about anybody. It's the default position in the UK to make sure that there is a distribution that happens to everything you've worked hard for. But it's not yours. It's not your last act on planet Earth, so please don't.
And it doesn't work for anybody.
No.
The fact it's over 100 years old, but actually if you go through it, it wouldn't work for us. We've been together 34 years, so obviously all our families know what's mine is Sean's, what Sean is mine.
If we do that as an example, in our situation, if we hadn't got a will written, first question...
Are you married in a civil partnership?
No.
Yes, no.
That's a no.
Next question, have you got any children?
No.
No.
Next question, have you got parents?
So
I have.
Yes, one parent. Well, Hayley's got a mum still.
So it's going to Hayley's mum.
And with me, because I haven't got my parents,
it would go to your
brothers and sisters,
and aunts and uncles,
right.
It's
so it
always
goes down
follows
the family line.
follows the.
So this is how sometimes it ends up going to a distant relative in Australia that they never ever met.
Cousin twice removed. Cousin twice removed.
Because of the bloodline, and they never knew them.
Yeah.
It's devastating, isn't it? Wasn't there a story about a gentleman and he lived next door to his neighbour, or a friend looked after him for years?
Lifelong friends, yeah.
And he promised him, when I died, my house is yours.
He didn't care for him because he wanted the house. This guy cared for him because they'd been lifelong friends. And everyone that knew them knew that when he passed away, he was leaving the house to his best friend. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
No one thought any different of it. And sadly, when he passed away, it came to light months later. People were asking what's happening with the house, and his best friend had to say, I don't know, because he didn't have a will. And your friend isn't part of your bloodline.
No.
He died intestate, and it ended up going to, I'm sure it was a cousin in Canada or something like that. And again, whilst that's the law, and okay, the cousin in Canada is benefiting from someone that she's related to, there clearly wasn't a relationship there.
No.
And he'd made it clear to everyone that he knew that he wanted his best friend to have the house. And that just didn't happen.
No.
And
there's so many,
you
my
can
hair's
speak-
got up, there's so many stories like this, isn't there?
yeah, and it sounds like we're almost mardy about it, but we're not. It's a frustration that we feel for everybody that's out there, because you can literally speak to Charlotte for 15 minutes and that could have been fixed.
Yeah.
Just write down your
Take that
wishes.
first step.
For a cost of half a takeaway a month.
Yeah.
Half a takeaway. I bought the boys some pizzas out. How much money's in the pizza racket now?
No.
Shall we open one?
I was like, how much? It was double what we're charging for a will per month.
Yeah.
But look, the reason we do these offers is we want it to be accessible. So I'm not being flippant about the cost, but it is just the equivalent of over 70 pence a day.
And you want people to realise, because I really don't think people do, that if you haven't legally written a will, you have got a will, and it's that government will.
If you're listening to us this morning now, you can't honestly say, or kid yourself if you like, that everything will be okay, I'm sure it will be fine, because you now know for a fact, because we're not lying about this, you can check it out for yourself, you now know for a fact that if you don't make your own will, the government will provide one to you. It's free, but guess what? Most free things are brilliant, aren't they? It's just a default position. It has to be there so there isn't anarchy.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just have everyone running around going, well, he said I could get it, he said I could get it.
But it can't work for anybody, really.
It's not
can
personal.
it?
When you make your own will, if you speak to Charlotte or a member of her team, all the questions are about you, understandably. It's not our will, it's not our house, it's not our money, it's not our family. But you choose your executors, so you choose who's going to carry out your wishes. You choose when your children inherit, especially if they're under 18. You decide that. If they are under 18, you can choose guardians. It's all you choose. You can even leave specific gifts. So sometimes people want to leave heirlooms, or they might want to leave, it's really, really common for moms to want to leave wedding rings or engagement rings or maternity rings. And if you've got more than one daughter, to specify who's getting which, again, to remove that argument. It's not unusual for men to want to leave a car or a watch, I'm not stereotyping, but you can leave specific gifts as well to remove any arguments and know that something you've done is passing on. You then decide, if the family's not perfect, you can choose who isn't going to benefit from your will and specify an exclusion. You.
And none of that will happen if you haven't written that.
The government will flips it the other way and says, right, we're going to do this with your estate. We don't care what you wanted. We haven't got time for that. We're just going to ask you about your marital status, who your family is, and wherever the question ends up as a yes, however many people are there are sharing in it equally. Whether that's what you wanted or not. Oh, and by the way, and if it's your young children, they're 18, they're going to get 18, whether that's right or not.
Yeah.
You don't have any control.
And the thing that blew me away, because I think you'd think if you were married, it was bound to be all right, isn't it? Because that's bound to be okay. But now you could be on a second marriage, you could have children from different relationships. If you haven't written a will, it could actually break a family up, because what again you think is going to happen, because they see themselves as a lovely family. They're not stepbrothers and sisters, they're brothers and sisters. They've lived together for all these years. But the government wouldn't care about any of that.
Take any of that into account.
There's no emotion, there's no thought about what people want, and what you've just described is actually very common today. It's not unusual. 100 years ago, I'm sure if we said, have you got are you on your second marriage or a third marriage, they'd be like, are you crazy? You get married once. Whereas today, it's not unusual to find people who are on a second marriage, even a third marriage. And it's certainly not unusual for those people to have had children from a previous relationship. But again, if you think about that logically, that means there's now two bloodlines within that family, whilst they see themselves as one family, and their second marriage might be longer than both of their first marriages. But again, it doesn't matter to the rules of intestacy. So forgive the finger puppets, but if Mr. died first, for example, and he's got a daughter, and Mrs. died second and she's got a daughter, well, when he died, everything went to him. Sorry, her. When he died, everything went to her. And then when she died, everything went to her daughter only. So his daughter gets nothing, and vice versa. So it's whoever dies first, effectively, their children aren't going to inherit. Then sometimes we hear, Well, it's okay because I'm sure our Sharon will, or I'm sure.
Oh,
and
that pressure! Can you imagine that?
And it's not always the children, you know. Sometimes it's the children's partners or husbands themselves going, well, you don't have
You
to give
don't
it.
need to give it to them.
And again, we don't cast aspersions. But that's a lot of pressure, and it's unnecessary. And if
and at a time that's so heightened, isn't it?
the emotions are high, money's
It can all
involved.
be removed.
Yeah.
Again, talk to Charlotte 15 minutes, and she can fix that for you.
And the other thing, Charlotte, if anyone's watching at home, again, you don't need your documentation. You don't need anything.
You don't
do you?
need
It's just
anything.
about
It's just got to take that first step today, and we'll deal with everything else for you. We'll make the next call, and we'll lead you all the way through at your own pace, and make sure it's a document that you're happy with. You just need to take that first step, pick up the phone, send a text. That's what we need to do today.
And when you get in contact, and when you do actually make the appointment, when it's right for you, you might be going on holiday for 3 weeks. That's fine.
Yep.
Say, could I book it in 3 weeks? The lovely thing is, again, you don't need to know anything. You sit down and have a really nice conversation like this.
Yeah.
And you know the right questions to ask to get the answers. That's what I love.
You've always got the answers.
The weird thing is you're saying you don't need to know anything, but actually you know everything.
Yeah.
know it all. Yeah.
You know it
do.
all because it's you, it's your family, it's your
but you don't need to
estate.
sit with a list. You don't have to think because you.
No.
And there's lots of things that I think we didn't think about. That you ask the question, think, oh gosh. I think a lot of people will think they haven't got anything, and it's not just
when you sit
financial
back,
things.
That's a great point because we think of finances, don't we, initially? But there's so much more that you can do in your will, and so many more things you can put into your will, all of your wishes. In fact, we've got a list here that just some of the things that you can
All
do.
personal.
You said about choosing executors. That's what does that mean for anyone who doesn't know?
So an executor is the person or the people that are actually going to carry out your wishes. So they're going to administer your estate. So if probate's needed, they get the grant of probate, they gather your assets together, they pay off any creditors, and ultimately then distribute everything you worked hard for according to the terms of your will. So you pick someone that you trust.
Great.
Some people use husbands, wives, children. Some people use professional companies to do it. We offer that service. Some people use a combination of both. So they'll have a professional working with a lay executor. But again, the key thing to note, that's your choice. You make an informed decision. If you die without a will, you're not choosing any of that. You actually don't know who's going to step forward to carry out the rules of intestacy.
And again, that's going to be so unpersonal,
scary,
isn't it?
Yeah. So that list that you saw up there was all about you, even down to things like your funeral wishes. And, you know,
Specific things.
It can be really simple stuff like, do you want to be cremated or buried? And that sparks a conversation with your family.
Yeah.
In some cases, we get really minimalist responses. In others, I mean, we had a classic of, well, I want to be cremated, and as the curtain closes, I want the Wicked Witch is Dead to start playing. We
quite love that,
we want Fire started by the Prodigy. So of course we're sort of giggling on the phone, going, and they're going, no, I'm serious. But we have testamentary freedom in the UK, and they said my family.
I think they're things we really struggle to talk about as well.
Yeah,
so it's good that you've got the opportunity to actually write it down.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it's nice for family to actually be able to have that in writing as well. They might actually give us a call and say,
it's a selfless thing.
It is. Have they got a will, and actually what were their wishes? Because they may not have actually had that conversation while they were alive.
Yeah.
So again,
I think we're quite rubbish at talking about things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
We had two brothers recently who were they're both bereaved because they've lost their mum, and they both were adamant they were right about what mum would want.
Bless.
Mum had a will and she documented her funeral wishes. So that was the end of that argument.
Great.
Yeah, that was the end of that
So it
argument.
takes it away,
Turns out they were both wrong.
Of course.
How funny.
Yeah.
And that's it, we don't know because we don't sit down. And just like I think, you know, when you do sit down and chat about the will, because instantly you think, oh, it's money, it's the house, it's the car, it's what's in my bank. I don't think anybody thinks about their children. And again, this is something I know we'd be rubbish at talking, well, what happened if, you know, if we both died, what would you do?
I think it's really important if you are younger and you've got children under 18 about
Definitely.
guardianship.
Yeah, guardianship.
Which you wouldn't,
huge.
I think, talk about. But when you sit down to do the will, you'll say, well, if the worst happens,
Yeah, if the
who
worst
would you want to
happened.
look after the children?
Yeah, if you've got children under the age of 18, and a lot of the time you do know, or you may not have actually had that conversation, But by putting it in your will, it means that you know if anything was to happen, those guardians can step forward. You know, if you ever go anywhere that you need to sign for your children, they'll say, are you parent or guardian?
Yes.
It's the only legal standing.
Because we often talk about godparents, but godparents isn't a legal
We're
position.
godparents to so many children. We'd need flats.
We would.
I'm sorry, the way you're saying that, I think you might be relieved to know you've got no legal
Got no
position as godparents.
responsibility.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really important to be able to put that into your will, because if worst case you didn't have your will written and the worst did happen, you've got children under the age of 18, you're relying on the right person to step forward, which may not be the person you'd have chosen.
Yes.
Because a lot of the time, actually, clients may not choose family.
Yeah.
They might choose friends that they've known for a long time.
Yeah, and it might cause another family upset if you haven't written it in the will.
Yeah.
Both grandparents come forward, and like you say, it might not be the grandparents. Then a sister might come forward and say, well, really, they'd want me to.
Yeah, they've got all good
that's
intentions
another-
at the time because they want to take care of the children, but you've got two children under the age of 18 that have not only lost their parents, they're then having to watch this huge family feud of families arguing between each other of who should take care of them. And worst case, if a decision can't be made, it's then down to the courts, and potentially the children become a ward of the court. So all of this
avoidable again.
can be avoided by just making that first step and writing the will and putting that guardianship clause in place and removing all of that.
And it's so simple, it's so straightforward, and it's so affordable. We've got exclusive offers for you. Let's run you through all the offers, because it's not just wills, it's also lasting power of attorney. But these are the details of the offers that we've got for you. And these are valid until the close of business on Friday. But what we would say is take advantage right now and make sure you get these deals, because it's taking that first step.
Yeah, do it now, because sadly, before you know it, the weekend's gone, so Friday's already happened. We're a bit rubbish, aren't we? It'll be Christmas, and then, I'll do it in the new year, and then the new year comes, it's spring. I'll do it in the summer, and no, I'm booking the summer holiday. So do it right now, this minute, because for a start, you've got such incredible prices. But like Sean said, it's that first step done. The will is so affordable, should be, and I was blown away. I thought it'd be thousands really to write a will, but £249. It's a great price.
A great price, but we're nowhere near that. The Shop on TV offer price should have been £99. It's a further 10% off that price. It comes down to £89. And if you want to spread the cost, you've got the option of 4 interest-free payments.
And that's nothing, isn't it?
£22.25.
What do you spend on coffee every single week?
So that's just a couple of coffees free, then.
Absolutely. Well, actually, our director the other week, was it £7 something for one coffee? He likes a posh coffee, but honestly, it makes it so affordable, and this is money well spent. Something that's so important. You've worked hard for all you own, whatever that may be, and you know who you want to give things to. Make sure it's written down legally, because sadly it will not happen unless you have written a legally binding will. That government will fall in place, and that doesn't work for anybody. Lasting power of attorney. Now, we are going to go back into detail about lasting power of attorney. Just as important as a will. You might have heard about it a bit on the television just recently. Should be, as you can see, £349. Our price right now is £199. But actually,
even better, got an extra 10% off.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that extra 10% discount, it comes down to £179.
Only until Friday, close of business.
Friday, yep.
So you can see there, splitting that cost with 4 payments, £44.75 is the first of those 4 payments. So these are all special extra 10% off that you're getting right now. We don't have these every time Simpler Law come with us, so grab it whilst we have got this deal. And then you can have the two together, which a lot of people actually get in contact, say, I definitely want a will.
Yeah.
And then you sit and watch the programme and think, oh gosh, why didn't I do the will and lasting power of attorney? As long as you secure the deals, you will be able to change your mind and go from just a will to will and lasting power of attorney, because that's a massive saving.
That combined offer that you see at the bottom there, well, I've got it on the side of the screen for you as well. It should be £598. The reduced price was going to be £269, but with that extra 10% off, it comes down to £242. And with those 4 interest-free payments, £60.50 on your first of 4 payments there. So whichever offer you want to go for, we'll show you how to get in touch in just a moment. But we just want to show this for you, because this is a book called What My Family Should Know. The first 250 people will get this book, and basically you can record everything in one place, whether it's pensions, bank accounts, whether it's passwords for tablets.
It's all the information your family will need when you do pass. And it used to be that you'd hunt the house, wouldn't you, for all the secret places, the shoebox, and you know where did they keep that you know, and it was letters. So it's all in there, absolutely everything you can think of. But now life is a little bit different, so it is the digital accounts as well. So often you need a password, don't you, for the computers, for the tablets, and perhaps that really vital email is on that tablet and you can't get on it. Or perhaps that really personal photograph is only on mum's phone and you can't get onto her phone. Happened to a family member to us just quite recently, and the gentleman died. It was just a sudden thing. It wasn't expected at all. And he had so much information on his tablet that they needed to get to, and they couldn't because they didn't have the password. And it was only because they were chatting one day and the grandson heard, and he was like, I know Grandad's password because I play the games on his tablet. And that's the only reason they could actually get that information. So it's all in that one book. These books always go really quickly. It's another reason to get in contact right now. Secure the deals. That's all you're doing tonight. You don't need any information. And you know you've secured your book as well.
First 250 people who secure the offers will also get that book that you see there.
They sell loads for £25, so you're getting that complimentary. To get in touch is really easy as well. And all you're doing right now, you might be going to bed, you might be just up, you might be going to work. Just do it right now so you don't forget. And there's 3 easy ways.
Yeah, we'll start with the website. You can go directly to Simpler Law, simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV. Really straightforward little form for you to fill out, and that'll take you through to the exclusive offers. The team are in the call centre right now, 0333 600 2600. They're there right through to 3 a.m. If you're watching on +1, you can still get in touch through the website or the texting service. So if you are on our +1 services, you can still text or go to the website.
Yeah, they're there till 3 a.m. After that, you can ring back tomorrow later on. But I would do, like Sean says, the website or text, because you know you've done it. And I think one of the best ways, so easy, isn't it, to text? Text the word will. Where's your phone? It's right by you, isn't it? So they're the words we always say, where's my phone? If it's not in your hand, you've lost it. It's right by you, right whilst you're sat watching TV. It's probably in your hand right now. You text the word will to 66777. It's done. You've secured the deal. You've secured the book. And you know that actually you're going to get something so important done. It's that first step that we're rubbish at, isn't it?
On everything. Things get... Ian always says life gets in the way, and it does, without a doubt. If you don't do it right now, you won't get round to it.
We need a new stair carpet. It's horrendous, our carpet. Absolutely horrendous. I open the door like this because I don't want them to see our carpet. It's terrible. And it's getting worse and worse every week. And it's not that we can't afford to buy a carpet, and we're busy. It's, you know, it's getting round to getting it done. But the biggest thing is we just haven't contacted someone about the carpet. If we contacted them, they'd probably say, well, I can do it next week, or I can do it in 2 weeks.
Just
it would be done. I'd skip up those stairs. You know, it's just that we're rubbish at doing that first step, aren't we?
And that's all it takes.
Getting in contact right now, that's your first step done, and you know you're going to get your will sorted or your lasting power of attorney with an amazing team. If you normally go via our website, you can do as well.
Yeah, shopontv.co.uk. When you scroll down there on the website, you will see that you've got the Simpler Law logo. When you click on that Simpler Law logo, it'll take you straight through to the exclusive offers that we've been talking about. Scroll down, a few things to fill in that you can see just there. Really simple, really straightforward. Scroll down, fill in the details, and if you do change your mind, if you want to go for a will and lasting power of attorney, and you've only mentioned will, Simpler Law are great. They will honour all the prices because you've secured the deal.
As long as you've got in contact and secured the deal, It can be for any of those deals. You decide, you might listen now to the lasting power of attorney and think, oh, I'll do both. Absolutely fine. Just secure the prices. Remember, you've only got till Friday at close of business, but you know it'll be Sunday before you know it. Do it right now, and the job is done. Even if you're going away for 2-week holiday, the team will get back in contact with you later on today, tomorrow, and they'll say, when's a good time for us to sit down and chat? And you could say, well, I'm away for 2 weeks. Could we do it sort of 3 weeks? And absolutely fine.
Yeah, it's all done at your convenience. That's the other.
But you haven't missed out on the price. That's the biggest thing.
Now, it changed the details on the screen to lasting power of attorney. You may have heard of the term lasting power of attorney, but not quite sure what it means. So we'll get Charlotte to explain, first of all, because I think everyone has heard of a will, everyone knows they need a will, but lasting power of attorney is a bit different, isn't it?
Yes, so these are documents for while you're alive, if you're unable to make your own decisions for any reason. So it could be that you've had a freak accident, it could be ill health, so we hear a lot about dementia, which a lot of people associate powers of attorney with the elderly for things like dementia. Old age tend to find you've got more illnesses at that age, but this could be for anyone at any age. The point of a power of attorney is you need to put it in place now, because if you don't, it's then too late to put it in place at that point. So essentially, you can choose who you trust, so family, friends, to step into your shoes and make decisions for you if you can't.
Right.
So really powerful documents. There's 2 types of powers of attorney. The first one, which everyone will be able to relate to, is called property and financial affairs. So whoever you nominate, family, friends, again, the choice is yours. These people can essentially step into your shoes. They can access your bank accounts. They can pay bills. They can claim pensions. If you've got property, they can manage your property as well. So if it needs to be sold to pay for care fees, anything to do with your finances, they essentially become you. You're called a donor on a power of attorney.
Okay. Right.
You're donating your voice to the people that you trust to be able to essentially speak on your behalf and act for you.
Because I would imagine, you know, if you're looking after a parent right now, or if you're in a relationship, your husband and wife, that you could automatically do that if they were poorly.
It's that same assumption.
But there is no way, when you really think about it, that I could go in Sean's bank now while he's well and take his money out.
If you tried that now in the institution, the first thing they're going to say is, are you the account holder?
Yeah.
You've got data protection.
You say no and it stops.
Exactly. You don't get any further, and especially if someone's then vulnerable, you're even more protected. So again, it's the same assumption, I think, with a will, is that, you know, we're married or we love each other. Everyone knows that I take care of this person. But unless you've actually got it documented on a power of attorney, you don't actually have any authority to be able to do any of that. So if you've got the power of attorney in place, especially for the financial, you can take that to the bank and say, I have power of attorney, and access those accounts, keep paying those bills. Money doesn't stop just because you've lost your capacity. Give you a lot of power. And again, you've got the control to say, this is who I trust.
It's what you said, essentially, they become you, don't they, in the eyes of the institutions.
And that can get really complicated as well if you're married and you've got joint accounts, because they can be frozen too, because a joint account is both of you being well and being able to do the account.
A lot of people think that they can still access those accounts, but if you've got a joint account, you both oversee that. So if one of you's actually lost capacity, they can freeze that account. So you can't actually access it. If you've got bills coming out of there, you know, a lot of couples have joint accounts to pay for bills to maintain the property. You wouldn't be able to access those.
Doesn't it? The bills
and if you haven't got the powers of attorney, you wouldn't be able to do that.
So that's the first one. There is a second one, isn't there? And this is health and welfare. I know Hayley, when we met Simpler Law doing my mum's lasting power of attorney. Well before they came and worked with us here at Shop on TV. And it was honestly a sit-down conversation like we're having right now. A real easy chat. We didn't need to know anything. They talked all the answers out of us, really. But I didn't realise we came for the financial side of it. And then as we were chatting, you said, well, there is a second option. And when you told us about this, to me, this was as important or more important than the financial side of things.
Yeah, it's really personal, this document. So again, it's who you trust. So it could be the same as your finances, it could be 2 different people, that's up to you. But the health document allows those people to decide where you're living. So if your children, for example, want to care for you themselves at home, they can make that decision. If you need to go into a care home, they can decide which care home that is
Gosh,
for you,
yes.
where
So
it is.
one close by.
Exactly, yeah.
One that you know is a nicer one.
Yeah, it could be one that you've requested, potentially. But again, they know that and they can make that choice for you. Even down to things that will seem trivial but are really, really important at the time is what you're eating, if you're a vegetarian, what you're wearing, how you have your hair. Only your loved ones are going to know these things, but they're really personal to you.
Yeah.
You might like to have your nails
Well, when you
done.
have got capacity, you think it's just a given.
That is.
You get up in the morning,
Yeah.
you do your hair, you put your lipstick on, you go about your day.
And that is your loved one, isn't it? We've all got my
how you
auntie
recognise
Cora.
them,
Always her hair was immaculate. It was a beautiful white grey,
Perfect
wasn't
nails.
it? Perfect nails painted, and we would have been devastated to go in somewhere and her hair not to be done, her nails not to be
And
polished.
that's what's important. It's going to
was
be
her.
really, really important at that
Yeah.
time for your
Yes.
loved ones to be able to have that voice and make those decisions for you. You know, we all like to think we're not going to be in this situation, but if life does throw you that curveball, you know you've got these documents in place so that those people can step forward and make those decisions for you. So you always call these documents a what if, which I really like, a what if document.
Yeah.
You know, if the worst should happen, you know that you've protected yourself, but also your loved ones to be able to do that. It's really, really powerful.
Now, if you are in Scotland and watching on STV, we did have an email in earlier. There is a joint document, and the team can help you out with that if you get in touch, whichever way you get in touch. So if you're in Scotland, there's a joint document. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, just get in touch and secure the deals, and then when you chat to them, you can say, well, actually, we're in Scotland. What's the situation? And you can sort everything out that way as well. And I think a lot of people won't realise that if you haven't got the lasting power of attorney, that again, at a time that you're in a real situation, desperately upset because a loved one is poorly, whether that's dementia, whether that's been a terrible accident, that you have to sort of fight to prove that you are the right person to look after your mum or dad, to look after your partner, your husband, your wife, because legally you're not able.
You have to prove it, don't you?
It seems desperately unfair, doesn't it? That you could be the wife of a husband who's been incapacitated through illness or an accident, and everybody that knows you and every circle that knows them and every circle that knows them knows that you're a wonderful couple, that you care for each other, and there's nothing wrong and there's nothing underlying, there's nothing contentious going on. The problem is the court doesn't know that. They don't know us like we know ourselves.
No, of course not.
And the second that someone loses capacity, if that person hasn't got a lasting power of attorney, so they haven't said, I trust my wife, I trust my son, I trust my friend, if they haven't got that document, then one of those people, and you're hoping it's one of those people that you would have chosen for yourself,
Yes.
or a number of those people, have to apply for what's called a deputyship order through the Court of Protection. And by definition, the Court of Protection is there to protect what is now a vulnerable person. That's why you have to jump through hoops, and that's what can be really frustrating for wives, husbands, children,
Devastating.
who in their mind are going, I'm just wanting to look after my husband, I'm just wanting to look after my wife. So you can imagine it's a very, very difficult time. The court process itself, like most court processes, is not straightforward. The application form is hideous, and the fees are extortionate. The fees just you can see them on the screen there alone. The fees run to £1,100.
And you've got to find this.
That's if you do that yourself.
Yeah.
And you've got to pay those fees to obviously be heard at the court. So the court will determine what the fees ultimately are. But yeah, if they ask for a hearing, for example, they're going to charge you $259. I haven't got my readers, I think it's $259.
$259 just for the hearing fee.
The application fee is the one that always staggers me. It's £421 just to apply.
Yeah.
And then you've got to go through the process. Now, the fees themselves are extortionate, in my opinion. Really expensive. If you use a professional, as most people have to try and
people
expedite the
won't
process,
understand.
you then get professional fees on top of that. But arguably worse than the money is the length of time it's taking for a decision to be granted. It can be take up to a year.
And that's
So
precious time where you would have just wanted to sit with your loved one, look after your loved one.
Time, yeah.
Very, very precious. You're wasting time dealing
And
with
couldn't
it,
that
frankly.
be at times too late as well?
Sadly, yeah. Yeah.
In worst
So
case,
again,
yeah.
the reason I call it a what if document, and I want to be clear, it's not an insurance policy,
No.
but it's a what if. We as individuals will often protect things, but we forget to protect ourselves and those closest to us in this sense. So most people, like you said, might have heard about a lasting power of attorney, but probably haven't given it much thought. But if you had that crystal ball and you knew life was going to throw you a curveball, you probably wouldn't hesitate to do this.
Yeah.
In the same way that you wouldn't hesitate to increase your insurance on your house if you knew it was going to explode tomorrow. You know, I'm being facetious, but we will protect things like our pets. We will protect things like our boiler. You know, we have boiler insurance. We protect water pipes, for crying out loud. But
My mum insured a dishwasher.
Yes, you know this story.
yeah,
Years. A dishwasher, big family dishwasher. She uses it once, she turns it on once a week because it takes her a week to fill it up. So it honestly wouldn't matter if it broke down. But actually when I looked at her, she said, do you think I should insure it again? I was like, no, we could have bought about
3 over.
Yeah, about 1,000 dishwashers for the price you've paid on the insurance. But we'll do that, won't we?
Yeah, we will. And look, and it happens. I'm sure if you check your bank account now, you could find all these things and go,
Yes.
oh, I'm paying for that.
Why am I doing that?
What is that? Yeah.
And that's why, look, part of the reason that we do these exclusive offers through here is we want to make these services as accessible as possible, and that's why we do these exclusive offers. But when you compare the cost of a will at £22 a month over 4 months, we spend so much more than that on stuff that we want to, in truth, you know. Buying a will is not sexy, is it? It's not exciting. But actually, when you get to the end of the consultation, I'm not saying you'll find it sexy and exciting, but you'll realise something at the end of the consultation that you can only realise when you've been through the process.
Yeah.
But affording it shouldn't be the block to you doing it. And when you consider everything that you pay, not just for these insurances, because coming back to the lasting power of attorney, like I said, if you had that crystal ball, you knew life was going to throw you a curveball, you wouldn't hesitate to put it in place. And the difference, the contrast between being incapacitated and your loved ones being able to step into your shoes straight away, and it's people you trust, compared to your loved ones having to now, for all intents and purposes, battle with the court of protection. That is such a stark contrast.
I think, again, it's something you don't realise. And you don't realise, we'd only heard of lasting power of attorney because of a bad story. That was the only reason we knew about it and made sure we had it for your mum and
For
dad.
my parents
and
first,
for my mum, you know, and I think that's sometimes the only time you do hear. And you hear these stories, but we still hear stories right now. It was on the telly just the other day. And this, I think, will blow people's mind, because if you are in a very happy marriage and it's your partner, this was a gentleman, he had a really serious and very unusual brain problem. Then he went into hospital and he was so poorly, they wouldn't actually allow him home to his wife
to look after
because
him.
he couldn't go home and look after himself. And she hadn't got lasting power of attorney. She said, well, I'll look after him. And they were like, well, have you got lasting power of attorney? And she went, no. And
so now she's having to fight to care for her husband.
She did have to fight.
And the people that know them, the heads.
How can that be?
But I think you'd presume, of course he'll come home to me.
Yeah.
But there's no legal obligation for
No.
that to happen.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the only people who know what's going on in a relationship are the people that's in it. And that's why these courts and the people who are making all these decisions can't think about that wife, believe it or not. They've just got to go, we're caring for the husband. So you get it with a pragmatic view, but if you're in that, or you feel that power, the same kind of thing, you're like, this is unfair.
Can't be
Morally,
right,
it can't be right. And that's when it comes right back to what we're talking about. Had that gentleman made a lasting power of attorney and said, I name my wife as an attorney, she'd have gone, look,
done.
he
Yeah.
trusts me,
Yeah.
I'm his health and welfare attorney, I'm going to tell you that he's coming home with me.
Yeah.
Now, they've still got a duty of care to make sure that's okay, but she's got a voice.
Yeah.
Without the power of attorney, she's got no voice, so she's got no standing. What really fascinates me sometimes as well is we get phone calls off people where there isn't a lasting power of attorney, and it's made worse because it'll often be from the partner who doesn't control the finances or makes the decision. So not only do they not have the authority to do anything, they also don't know where to start because they're not the
They don't
ones.
normally deal with it.
No, it's not unusual in a couple that one will take that role and someone will take a different role in the family.
And on top of all of that, you're obviously devastated because something terrible has happened to your loved one.
All of that just heaps all this pressure on. And then what you do is realise, now I've got to go and deal with the court of protection. And that's why you don't regret sending the word will to 66777 tonight, because you can speak to Charlotte or a member of our team and you can remove all of this. I mean, touch wood, your family will never need to use these documents.
Yes.
We know a will's going to be used. There's an inevitability of that. I don't think we've ever met an immortal client yet.
Yeah.
So there is an inevitability to the will. So we know one day that will be used. So I'm not saying that death is brilliant, but it's brilliant that document's going to be used. With a lasting power of attorney, that's a document you definitely want to have. You want to plan for the worst, but then you want to hope for the best.
Yeah.
You want to hope that that document never needs to be registered with the Office of Public Guardian and never needs to be used. But you definitely want it there in case life throws you that curveball. Because I'm just like everybody else. Bad stuff's always going to happen to everybody else.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm not going to bring the mood down, but this year's been a weird year where it's not happened to everybody else.
Yeah.
So we're going through stuff, we've seen stuff, and it's far too close to home. And if you ask most people don't have to think long and hard before they know someone where life's thrown them a curveball.
Definitely.
You know, if you had to put your hand up, do you know someone or either directly or indirectly who's been affected by dementia? Most people today, unfortunately, are going, yeah, do you know someone who's been affected directly or indirectly by cancer? Most people are going, life's not always fair. So all you can do is plan for the worst, hope for the best. So do something amazing for yourself, do something super amazing for your family. Just text the word will to 66777. Charlotte and or her team will get back to you, and you can do something absolutely amazing for your family. Just hope you never need to use
That's
the
it.
power of it.
And they are put then to one side. You can either register them straight away, which is what we did with mums,
Yeah.
Personal choice. Yeah.
or you will check that it's all signed right.
That's the important thing, isn't
Yes.
it? The important thing is that it's signed, dated and witnessed correctly. We help with all of that.
Yeah.
And you literally, you call it a hand-holding service. You literally guide everyone through, don't you?
All the way through, yeah. We don't just produce your documents, give them to you and off you go.
Yeah.
We make sure, as we've just said, that they are signed, dated legally and they're valid. We have a free validation service.
That's really important, the signature,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. They need to be signed, they need to be witnessed. The witnesses can't be related to you and obviously dated. So we talk you through all of that.
Sorry, Shayley.
That's right.
With a will, you can do the lasting powers of attorney. You can have a go yourself with the boxes and filling it all in and
Yeah.
everything else. But again, you don't have the insured service. You don't have the free validation. And again, it sounds a bit melodramatic to say heartbreaking, but we know plenty of stories of relatives of our clients and someone's done a lasting power of attorney. It's not been signed in the right order. It's not been dated
That's
correctly.
the worst, yeah.
They've lost capacity, and again, it's almost worse that they.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
all the-
because they've
Because
done
it's like
it.
they're basically
Yeah.
saying, I know I needed this document. It goes to be registered. The Office of Public Guardian go, no, sorry, you've got to re-sign and resubmit it. And it's like, but Dad's already done
late.
it, and it's too late.
Yeah.
And that happened with my mum's, because we did mum's lasting power of attorney.
We get
with
a
you.
chance to put it right.
Yeah, and you noticed that her signature wasn't right, and we had no clue. It was my mum's neighbour. She'd been my mum's neighbour since mum lived there. She was the daughter of the couple next door. Then she lived next door, so known her for years. But she'd always gone by this name. We didn't know it was her middle name, not her first name.
Yeah.
So when she sort of wrote and signed, and
So it was printed one way and signed.
it was all back to front and didn't match.
Yeah.
And you noticed that, so
again,
got back
that's
in
what
touch
we're
with
there
us
for.
so we could do it correctly. Otherwise, ours would have been incorrect.
Yeah, and that's what we're there for. We want to make sure that we support you all the way through until you know you've got that document valid and legal and in place. And like I say, it's then up to you whether you register it straight away, whether you keep it safe, because you can register it yourself, or worst case, if you've lost your capacity, your attorneys that you've nominated can actually do it for you at
it's
that point as
there.
well. The point is you've got it, it's legal and it's in place, and we've checked it and we've given you the best advice.
It was like a weight off our shoulders.
Yes, and that's the beauty as well. When we do these consultations, there's not one client that leaves the consultations and thinks, oh, why have I done that? Oh, I shouldn't have done that. It's a weight that's been lifted that they actually probably didn't even know they had in the first place a lot of the time.
We really
And they think, oh,
worried about doing it, sitting down and talking about it. Are we going to ask the wrong questions? Or are we going to know the answers? What do we need to know? But then when we sat down at home with a cup of tea on the phone, it was just like a really easy, nice conversation.
yeah, it is.
The lady we dealt with became a friend, really. I felt I could email and ask anything I'd forgotten to ask.
Yeah.
You went at our pace. You didn't rush us for a minute.
Really straightforward language as
Yeah.
well, not overcomplicated legal language.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be afraid of, is
We're there to give you the advice. It's up to you whether you take it. You can take some of it, all of it, or none of it. But we won't produce a document for you until you fully understand it and you're happy. It's your document at the end of the day. So that's what we're there to do, as long as you're happy.
We've failed if you don't understand
Yeah.
your document,
What you've-
basically.
yeah, yeah.
And, you know,
And I think
simple law by definition is we do try and make this simple without being patronising. Because yes, there is legalese as people refer to it in some of these documents, but we talk you through all of that.
And I think you succeed so well, and that's why you're award-winning.
Yes.
Because you have.
Yeah.
And again, award-winning really for your team. Those Simpler Law, as you can see here, were the winners of the Estate Planning Firm of the Year. That was your team, which you're so proud of.
I think you'll find that was mostly down to me. When we spoke to the judges, after, they said, Charlotte and the client care team, I don't know what they did.
You won't be able to walk out the room.
To be fair, when you win awards like that for the firm, it literally is, and I know it always sounds a little bit crass, doesn't it? But it's everybody.
Yeah.
It's everybody from the people who are on the reception manning the calls that are coming in, from the admin team who do a brilliant job of making sure the documents go out. Charlotte and the client care team were at the heart of everything, because we're speaking to our clients and helping them get what they want. But it's everybody's involvement, making sure that what the client wants is what the client gets.
Yeah.
So really proud of that. To be fair, we were very proud of that. But they don't just throw them at you. You do have to work at it.
Yes, yeah.
So, but again, you can only experience the level of service we provide if you call us. If the team's there till 3 a.m. But if you don't want to speak to us at this time of the morning, that's fine as well. Just send the word Will to 66777. We'll phone you back. Because honestly, those two things, picking up that phone or sending that text, the hardest thing compared to everything that will follow. Because after that, you'll realise I've done something brilliant here.
And you've got that peace of mind that you do give a money back guarantee as well.
Honestly, if at the end of the consultation, because you can't know until you finish the consultation, so if you said, right, I'm going to speak to a member of the client care team, I want to see what this will lasting power attorney, whatever it is that you think that you need, we'll talk to you, and at the end of it, you will make a decision about what you decide to do. It's your decision, remember, not ours. And if at the end of that consultation you go, do you know what, this isn't for me, I don't like the person I'm speaking to, or I don't like the advice I'm being given, whatever the negative is, if you have a negative reaction at the end of your consultation, just say, I'm not going to go any further, I'll have my money back, please, and we'll just give you your money back.
Great.
We're that confident because we know that Charlotte and her team, that just doesn't happen. Because it's your will, it's your family. It's not our document, it's your document.
And you make it personal. And though obviously you deal with wills and lasting powers of attorney day after day, every new customer, again, it's completely personal.
Yeah, we don't take it for granted. It could be the first time writing a will. It could even be their third time, but it's still just as important because things will have changed.
Yeah.
So we don't lose sight of that when we're talking to clients, that it's really important, every single client that we speak to. And it is a nice experience because you are getting to know each other, really.
Yeah,
you are having a conversation.
I love the fact that you deal with the same person as well, don't you, once you're assigned
You'll always have the same consultant, so if you ever have any questions, you'll always go back to that same consultant. If they are busy at the time, they will always get back to you as well. So you know that you've always got that same person that's had that conversation, understands your requests.
Situation.
Exactly,
We're passionate about what we do because we know how important it is. That's simple. What to us is a simple phone call. We don't lose sight that it's significant for the client. And I think because within this profession we see everything. So we see both sides of the coin. We see people passing away where they've planned, and again, I won't use a word, I'll use the word easy advisedly, but that makes it easier for the family compared to the person that passed away without a will and the problems that creates. And sometimes you want to grab a client, pick them up and put them in that room just for an hour and say, this is the difference it can make to your family. And I think because we see that every single day, we know that when a client puts their trust in us, we're going to do something amazing for them because they're doing something amazing for the family. But again, to put your trust in us, the hardest thing is to pick up that phone or send that text.
It's like the hardest and the easiest thing to do because there's 3 ways to get in touch. You've got amazing prices, and those prices are only till close of business on Friday. We do say do it right now though, because we do tend to forget. The weekend will come and go, and then you'll think, oh gosh,
should have done it.
Should have done it. I'll do it next year, and then all of a sudden it's summer next year, and it's too late. You don't know. Tomorrow may never come. Do it right now. Price-wise, wow. I did think a will would be thousands. A regular price, $249. Our special price is usually $99, but you have got an extra 10% off, so $89 to write that will. £89 to make sure that what you've worked so hard for, it does go to the people that you want it to go to your loved ones, to your friends, to charity. Whatever is your choice, for £89, it will definitely happen. However, sadly, if you haven't written a legally binding will, the government will falls in place, and nothing that you wanted to happen really is going to happen, because it can't work for everybody. That
and we'll
government
talk you through that again in a few minutes.
Split that cost as well. You can actually cut that to 4 payments, so all you spend is £22.25, 4 months. If you think about what you spend on coffee or when you pop into the shop for a bottle of milk, that's nothing, isn't it?
No.
And it's money well spent. But then lasting power of attorney that we've just been talking about.
Yeah, the offer that we've got there for you should be £349. The offer price was down to less than £200, but with the extra 10% off, it comes down to £179. And with those 4 interest-free payments again, £44.75 on your first of 4 payments there. It's such great value, and it is all about just taking that first step, just getting in touch.
And yeah, you're just securing the prices. Getting in touch today is securing these deals. You may decide, and you might not know right now, you might have already got in touch for the will, and now you're thinking, I wish I'd done the will and lasting power of attorney. That's fine. You can change your mind. Simpler law will, as long as you've been in touch to secure the deals, will allow you to go from the will to the will and lasting power of attorney. You can see there should be $598. Our regular sale price or discounted price is $269, but you have got that further 10% off till close of business on Friday. So get in touch right now. $242, and that's 4 payments of £60.50. Another reason to do it right now is the first 250 people get this book, and I think everybody, as soon as you start work, should have a book like this.
It's called What My Family Should Know. It's £25 value. First 250 people will get this. It's basically one place to record all your information. So you start off with things like your pensions. It could be things like your assets.
Well, it's all the things you hunt for when you lose a loved one. They've got secret places, haven't they? The shoebox. They've got, let you know where the letters are. My mum's got piles of things everywhere. Which pile will it be in? I have no idea. The great thing is, it's all together in this book. But actually, one of the biggest things now is your digital accounts.
Passwords,
yes.
Things like that on your computers, your
tablets.
Because
it's emails you might need.
Your phones, yeah, it might not be a paper trail. It might all be on your digital
Or it might
devices.
be a really personal photograph. And you know those photos are only on Dad's tablet, or they're only on Mum's phone, and you can't get on. When you've got that book and it's in that book, you know you will be able to get all that information.
And Ian, there's some staggering figures that you found, and that's why you produced this.
Terrifying, yeah. It was born out of our estate administration department, so actually, administering the estate when someone's passed away. And we put that together because we understood quite clearly that it can be an arduous task. You're quite right. Crawling around in cupboards, trying to find shoe boxes. And
you should come round to my mum's. It'll take forever. I'll be gone by the time I've found everything I need.
We'll put the kettle on, we'll bring one of these books round. But yeah, in all seriousness, the statistics that you're talking about are mind-blowing figures, actually. It's believed in the UK there's £5 billion of unclaimed pension pots. So basically, 5 billion. But I was thinking about this recently. I mean, my dad's still with us and claiming a pension. So any pensions that he's due, I'm assuming he's getting now. But I don't sit down with my dad and talk about money because we don't.
No.
That's not the kind of thing we do. But if I also had to tell you how many jobs and where my dad has had where he was paying into a pension, I couldn't tell you.
Well, he would have worked probably from being 16, 17, 18. You'd have no idea how many jobs and pensions
he worked in the Sheffield steel mills for different companies for different years. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
No.
And so unfortunately, if people pass away with money still in these pension funds that hasn't been paid, it can very easily be lost if people don't know where to look for it and claim it.
And people move, so there's no contact with...
£5 billion.
That's frightening, isn't it?
Same with life companies. There's £2 billion of unclaimed life insurance policies. So it's believed that someone's passed away but a claim's never been made. That's money that's due to the estate or due to the beneficiaries.
And it's just because people don't know they're there, isn't it?
Again, you know what you know, and if you don't know where to look, and sometimes lay people don't have the tools that a professional does, so they just, they might just go to a bank and go, oh, Dad didn't have any insurance, but he might have had a paid up policy that was going to pay out. Lots of different things can go missing. there's believed to be £850 million just sat in UK bank accounts. Again, just, perhaps that odd bank account.
Yeah, because people aren't aware.
I opened one in the town where I got my first job with the bank, so that's what you did, and I've never particularly used it, but I set up a tiny little standing order that to this day is still going in that account.
Oh,
don't.
I would like to say my wife doesn't know about it, but she knows.
She knows everything.
But if people think about it, they might just have that one account that perhaps people don't think about. And now that we have gone digital as well and paperless,
you've got an old passbook.
There's even less chance of these things being found. So that's been received really well. And again, it's just part of this selfless process, effectively, just sitting down, taking stock, and look, I'll keep this with my will, and when the day eventually comes, hopefully years and years from now, this is where everything is.
Yeah. So your first 250 people who get in touch will get that book. We talked about speaking.
They always go, so do get in touch. Do it right now to secure the deals, but also secure that book. You can either go via website, simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV, or you can jump on the phones. Now, if you're watching on +1, they're there till 3 a.m, but you can ring again tomorrow. But actually, just do it via the website or by texting. But if you do want to jump on the phones, they're there till 3 a.m. It is 0333 600 2600. You can ask a couple of questions, but remember, you don't need to know anything today, apart from you want to do a will. You want to do a lasting power of attorney. Just get in contact.
You don't need any documentation with you. You don't need any answers. Right now, it's just about securing those deals. So if you want to text, that is the easiest way, especially if you're watching on the +1 service. Just text the word will, WILL, to 66777.
So
yeah, your phone's always in your hand, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's done.
And the team will then get back to you.
If you've been working all day and you've been talking all day, or you're about to go out to work, the last thing you want to do is talk to somebody right now. We argue about who's going to answer the door, who's going to answer the phone. Well, I don't want to speak to him. You answer it. I don't want to speak to him. You speak to him. And, we'll hide. Pretend we're not, because we talk all day. Whereas just text Will, and the job is done. What you're trying to say? I've got a funny voice. Talk too much.
Is that what it is? You can go to our website. If you normally go to shopontv.co.uk, scroll down and you'll see the Simpler Law logo with our on-screen partners there. Just click on that logo and it takes you straight through to those exclusive offers with the extra 10% discount. All the prices are there for you to look through, and then just fill in that form.
And that's really easy as well.
Really,
and again, job done. You've secured the prices. And don't worry if you're going away for the next 2 weeks, or you've got a 3-week holiday coming up, still secure the deal now. When the team get back to you, they'll get back to you later on today or in the next couple of days and say when will be a good time to sit down and chat. You can say, well, actually, I'm away for 2 weeks. Could we do it in 3 weeks?
It's all done at your convenience.
All done how you want to do it, when you want to do it. What you're doing today is securing those prices.
So details on the screen. If you want to write a will, we're going to go right back to the beginning. If you've just joined us and you're thinking, this looks really interesting. The great thing about this is the offers are really affordable, and we're working with experts in the field.
Who make it really easy, really simple. But also I think the show's great because I think a lot of us don't realise that if you haven't got a legally binding will written, that sadly you have got a will.
There's a government will that
you haven't written
is in place.
It's not what you want, but there's a government will that falls into place, which I don't see. It's 100 years old for a start. I don't see it working for anybody. Definitely won't work for us because we're not married.
It's just a series of yes/no questions.
We've been together 34 years. The government wouldn't care. Though my family and your family know that what's ours is each other's. If I went first, it'd be Sean's. If Sean went first, it'd be mine. The government wouldn't care. But then it's not. It doesn't even work if you're married with so many children. It definitely doesn't work if you're married with children from different relationships. It doesn't work if you're on your own. It doesn't work, I don't see, for anybody.
Because it's that simple yes/no questions. And Ian, we talk about the government will, the rules of intestacy is what it's called, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as Hayley said, it's been in place over 100 years.
It's its centenary this year. 1925. So society
times
was
have changed a little bit.
Just a little, just a little.
So back then, and it still wouldn't have worked for everybody because it just can't, but people would have been married probably for all their lives and probably would have had 2 or 4 children. And so it would have been a little easier, but it still wouldn't have been right.
There would have been less carnage, I suspect, 100 years ago. But there still needs to be, it basically came about because there needs to be a default position.
Yeah. Because you do go, that's ridiculous. And then when you say that, you're like, well, there has to be something.
Well, again, it's because we live our lives in our own little bubble, and rightly so. So, you know, if you're in like a social circle or a family circle, and at the top of that circle, if you like, is the mum and dad, and they love each other, and you know they've always said that they're going to take care of each other and take care of the kids in a certain way, and everyone understands that. Unless that's actually documented in their will, there's no guarantee that what they want to happen is going to happen, because that's then going to be down to the rules of intestacy. Does the rules of intestacy match what they want to happen? Well, out of all of the wills that we've written, and it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands, we've never drafted a will that matches the rules of intestacy, because that's the default position. And the default position doesn't care about us as individuals, we're just an account number.
Yeah.
But again, if you apply logic to it, if you either pass away and you've made a will, a valid will, that's got your wishes in it, it's bespoke, it knows about you, it takes care of your assets and deals with your family, or you don't, and if you get the rules of intestacy, this one rule is meant to meet everybody's needs. It just can't.
It can't
do it.
Look at the four of us. We've all got very different circumstances.
But it has to exist, because if it didn't, then everyone would decide that they want a say. So coming back to this little circle, we all know what everyone thinks, that there's a perfect understanding of what wants to happen, but the law doesn't see it that way.
No.
And you only need one opposing opinion. And the interesting thing is, when the people at the top of this lovely circle pass away, so does their influence. And then you've got grief in the mix, and then you've got money in the mix, and that's when sometimes you see the worst in people, without casting aspersions.
I bet it can be a time when there's a lot of, you know of it, you've heard of it, haven't you, a family fallout.
Yeah.
Because especially if you knew as a family member, you knew what they wanted. I know what mum and dad wanted, or you thought you knew what they wanted, as did perhaps your sister or brother. I can imagine the whole family, when you're so upset already, and then you're now fighting over what you know
because
should have been happening,
one thing,
but it isn't happening.
We speak to people now, sadly, you know, you'll speak to someone and one of the things they'll say is, oh, and I want to exclude my sister. And you're like, oh, okay. And they say, yeah, since my mum died, this happened, that happened. They've fallen out over a bereavement. And sadly, it's one of the single biggest reasons for family breakdowns is a bereavement, and typically where there isn't a will. So they've disagreed. It could be the smallest disagreement, even over like a song played at the funeral.
Right.
But these things that are small aren't small.
So heightened, isn't it?
The emotions are high. Things get said that can't be unsaid. The usual things that we hear. It sounds cliched, but unfortunately, it's true. So when I say that making a will is selfless, I mean it 100%. You will get something out of it. When you speak to Charlotte or a member of Charlotte's team, it is a cathartic process for you. You will definitely get peace of mind from it. You will definitely get something from it. But be under no illusion, you've done it because you care about the people that you love, because you want to make it as painless for them as possible. It won't diminish the bereavement, but what it will do is it won't make it worse, because there'll be no arguments. There'll be no, dad wanted this or dad wanted that. I'd be like, well, actually, he's documented this, he's signed, he's dated, it's all witnessed. This is what he wanted. We had a couple of brothers recently not fighting, but there was a disagreement building over their mother's funeral arrangements. There were very different opinions. They were very set in their ways. It was about to go very wrong. Thankfully, we'd got the will. We found the will. She'd actually documented her funeral wishes.
Brilliant.
Both of them got it wrong.
Oh, funny.
Which was in a way nice, because then no one could say, I told you I was right. It was like you were both. This is actually what your mum's documented in her will. But then there was that relief of, oh, well, we'll do that then.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And that's the selflessness of it.
And you need that, don't you? Yeah. And sadly, unless it's been legally written down with a legally binding will, that's not going to happen. No. It will be that government will that falls in place. And that honestly doesn't work for anybody. I know for me and Sean, because we're not married, then you could say, well, it's your own fault, you're not married, so they're not going to set it up for you. But we've been together 34 years, probably longer than some marriages, but the government won't care about that. But actually, even if you are married, and I think this is where it gets lost, it's not as easy as it just all go into your partner.
There's only a limited amount anyway.
Yeah,
so you're not guaranteed to inherit everything from your spouse, which again blows spouses' minds, because like, what do you mean? It's like you're capped at the first 322,000. So if your estate's larger than that, then there's a convoluted calculation depending on whether you have children or not. This can get really complicated really quickly when it can actually be simplified for not a lot of money, which is why we do these shows. And through someone as experienced as Charlotte, just speaking to Charlotte and saying,
It's been nice.
Nice. He sort of lifts you up and then he kicks you back down.
That was on the
It's
telly.
like, up and down.
Look, we've said it a lot this morning, but it's absolutely true. As our client, you have all the answers. It's your family, it's your estate, everything you've got, you've worked hard for. It's not ours, it's yours. But we take you to a dark place for 2 minutes. If the worst had happened yesterday, what would you want to see happen? And if you can't answer that straight away, that's fine, but we'll wait for you and we'll help guide you, because then it's like, well, actually, I'd want this, but what about that?
Yeah.
And that's what we're there for. And then they go, I'd never even thought of that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get parents going, oh, so my kids don't have to inherit all at once. And you're like, no, you can start. But it's what our clients want. So we help them get what they want. And at the end of it, they decide whether to take our advice or not. But ultimately, they've got the will that they want. They're happy with the instructions they've given us. They're happy with the advice we've given them. And it's their will. More importantly, that means they won't die intestate.
Yeah.
So their wishes will be carried out. Without that, there is no grey area. There is no in between. There is no like, well, what if? There's just no what if. You either do your own will or you die intestate.
Because there's a lot of grey areas, isn't there? Because you might be married with children from different marriages, but now you're one big happy family. So really they're stepbrothers, stepsisters.
Yeah.
But as the family, you live together. You are that family. Because if you haven't got a will, this can really rip the family apart, because it's bloodline. So it's down to who dies first, isn't it? Which is horrendous.
This goes back to that yes-no of the rules of intestacy, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's really easy to have 2, in some cases 3 bloodlines, depending on how many children you've had in previous relationships.
Blended families, mixed families over the time.
And again, it's not unusual. Charlotte will tell you, you know, if we pick up the phone tomorrow to a client, we're not going to be like, I cannot believe you're on your second marriage. We are shocked.
Yeah, right. How unusual.
This is 1925. I've never heard of such a thing. Oh, no, it's 2025.
Yeah.
All right, okay. So it's really not unusual to see a couple that are on the second marriage, for example. And of course, what that brings with it is, I was going to say baggage, but potentially children from previous relationships. So it really is not unusual to see Mr. and Mrs. now on the second marriage, probably married longer than they both were the first time round, and happy. And as you alluded to, Hayley, the fact that he might have a daughter, she might have a daughter, they don't call themselves stepsisters, they call themselves sisters, and they don't refer to them as stepdaughter and daughter, they refer to them as my daughters, because that's the relationship they've got. That's perfect, but again, we're back to this thing of the perfect little bubble for you. The outside world won't see it like that, and the law doesn't see it like that. The law sees 2 bloodlines.
Yeah.
Mr. has a daughter, Mrs. has a daughter. If Mr. died first under the rules of intestacy, let's say the estate's worth 300,000, all that 300,000 would go to Mrs. That seems to be okay, because that's probably what he wanted and probably what she wanted. But then if she dies, well, when she dies, it will then only go to her daughter. It will go down her bloodline, because the rules of intestacy doesn't say, have you got stepchildren? It says, have you got children? And the answer is yes, she's got a daughter, so that money goes down to her daughter, and her sister is left out. Sometimes we'll hear clients go, oh yes, but our daughters would make sure each other are looked after. That's a lot of pressure. There is no legal obligation on either of them to give anything to each other. And sometimes it isn't actually the children that would be the problem. It'd be their partner. Or,
yes.
Hang on, we've just got 300,000. You don't have to give it. Again, it can become very contentious.
And they might really need that money. They might be in debt or something. So there's no way they could.
The only people who know what's going on in any relationship and in their own lives are the people that are in it. Because quite often we will see, we'll see file notes of things like that where clients will say, yeah, the kids all get on great and this is lovely and everything's wonderful. And then by the time we're speaking to them when the parents have passed away, that picture isn't what they thought, because
No.
And it's so easy to take all that problem away just simply by writing everything down.
if you
Isn't
speak
Yeah,
to
it's
the
just
wonderfully
taking that.
experienced Charlotte.
it? Yes.
He's going strong.
Yes. Take it.
All you've got to do is take that first step today.
And when we talk about wills, I think initially people think, oh, it's just about money. But it's not, is it?
Yeah,
That's so
sometimes you
much
think
more.
I haven't got anything, but actually, when you sit down and chat, it's not just what's in your bank account, is it?
No, and you might not actually realise, and you actually sit back and take stock and go, oh, okay, I do have a house, or I do have a car, or I do have family heirlooms. Doesn't matter what you have.
But that's
what you have
a
is
great
yours.
point, yeah,
It's
family
important to you. So, yeah,
All relative,
it's
yeah.
more than just a direction of where your cash is going. It could be, as we said, gifts. So it could be that you want to leave a cash gift amount to a charity, for example, or a specific person. It could be that you want to leave family heirlooms. So jewellery is a really big one.
Yeah.
It could be that you actually want to leave your car. It could just be a family clock that you've got.
Yeah.
Anything like that that's important to you, you can put as a gift. Gift of pets, sometimes more important than children.
Yeah, because pets to a lot of people, they are their children, so you want to
massively.
know they're going to be looked after
Yeah.
when you're gone.
And again, you can state who takes care of your pets. You can actually leave a set amount to them as
money
well
for
to
them
take
to-
care of
right.
their pets. Yeah, absolutely.
And we saw there as well guardianship. So if you've got children who are under 18,
Yeah.
Which would be horrendous if both parents died. But I think unless you sit down and do a will, you wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
But you must think about it, because if that did happen, what would happen to the children if parents hadn't discussed who they'd like to look after their children if they weren't here?
I mean, if you've got it in your will, then obviously you've covered that. You
Yeah.
can state who you want to take care of your children, and they will step forward at the time. If you haven't written that into your will, you're essentially relying on that right person to step forward, which might not even be the person that you'd have initially
Yes.
chosen. It could be that you'd wanted really close family friends to take care of your children, not family, or vice versa.
And that again could cause family upset, because both grandparents could come forward and then the
Yeah.
sister might come forward
Which
and
a
say,
lot
well,
of the
actually, it's
time-
me.
Yeah, it can
But
happen
they'd-
if you've not had that conversation with family,
Yeah.
which you wouldn't usually do. You have
No.
it between yourselves. But you've got these two children, however many children under the age of 18, that have already lost their parents, that then could be watching a family dispute, because families have all good intentions, but at the end of the day, they probably want to take care of the children themselves, so they're coming together and arguing, and it's then down to the courts. You're leaving that decision down to somebody that doesn't know your family.
all of that going on while they've lost their parents.
And
as
worst
well.
case, they become a ward of the court in really, really worst case scenario. So actually, they're not with family, they're not with family friends in a time that's really, really difficult for them. And all it takes is you picking up the phone, putting that guardianship clause in place, and taking that step today, having that 15-minute conversation with myself or one of the team to be able to give you that advice and putting that clause in your will. It's so powerful, especially when you've got children. You know, you tend to know who you want to take care of
Control.
them.
And if you've got older children as well, Ian, I didn't even think about this, but they would inherit from what age?
One of the rules of intestacy, when they turn 18, they can give a receipt for the inheritance.
So they could get everything at 18.
They do get everything at 18.
And we all know what we were like at 18.
I was
Yeah,
very
we've all-
sensible.
Me too.
Get your photo out. You were sensible. Just your hair was
Look, that
unsensible.
That mullet was a strong look.
It was of its time, let's put it that
So
way.
could you...
To be fair, I still had these chins and this nose, so it didn't really make any difference.
Bless you. So what you can do with a will is actually say, well, I don't want them to have it at 18.
Yeah.
You could give
stagger
them
it.
some at 18, some at 21, some at 30.
Absolutely, personal preference again. What we do know beyond anecdotes, we know for a fact the vast majority of parents of younger children don't want the children to inherit 18.
It's too young, isn't it?
They think so, and they just say, yeah. But there's lots of provisions you can put in. That, again, that's something we can talk about. But typically people will say 21, they'll say 23, in some cases they'll say 25.
Yeah.
That's personal preference. But if you think about the difference between 18 and 23, those 5 years are huge. You know, that's the difference from maybe leaving university to, you know, starting a job and messing around to actually starting to maybe find your feet and build a career.
Yeah.
Just those 5 years could be the difference between that inheritance being used as a deposit on a house, or even getting a house, as opposed to being frittered away and you know, watching Kiss and Def Leppard on a world tour, which is what I would have done. What a shame. But no, again, it's personal preference, and you know your children, we don't. You know, so it's your choice.
Yeah.
We don't tell you what to do, you tell us what you want to do. But these are the conversations that we have with you, and it's all about you. Every question is, what do you want to do?
So whatever
What do you want
situation you're in, whether you're like us, not married but been together for 34 years, so obviously what is each other's is each other's. Government will doesn't work for us. Whether you're married with children from different relationships, won't work for you, the government will, but you can decide what's going on. But also if you're single, and I like to bring this up because I think there's a story that sticks in my mind. You told us the very first time we worked with you. And I always think about this guy and I think, I bet he didn't write a will because he thought, well, I'm not married yet. I haven't got children. I'll wait. And then sadly, it was too late. And I know if he was looking down, it'd be like, that is not what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, logic suggests that it's the last thing they would want to happen because it's just everyone's reaction to it when it first came out. Was like, well, that's not fair. That can't be right.
Yeah.
So yeah, if, basically a young man, successful in his career, I believe he was a medical consultant. So he'd got a decent sized estate. He'd worked hard. He passed away suddenly and unexpectedly. He'd never married. He'd never had children, and he's passed away without a will. So we can guess why he didn't have a will, but we'll never know for sure. The story was told by the brother that survived him and his mum that survived him. I mean, it's already awful for a parent to have to bury a son. The story then takes a twist in so much as he's died intestate. Like I said, there's no middle ground. You either die with a will or you don't. He died without a will, so the government step in and go, there's none of this you choose, you choose. They're going to dictate now what happens to his estate, and they dictate it through a series of yes or no questions, which are the rules of intestacy. The first question they asked of the gentleman that passed away is, was he married in a civil partnership? The answer was no. That takes you along to the next question. Did he have children? The answer was no. That takes you to the next question. Did he have parents? The answer is yes. The conclusion is his estate is to be split equally between his parents. Now that may seem okay, but then what we learn is that his dad had walked out on him when he was a baby, and there hadn't been any relationship there at all. No birthday cards, nothing, no contact. He hadn't been a part of his life at all. And yet here he is now inheriting half of his estate.
And his poor mum had to find him.
Basically has to track him down and say, our son, when you walked out. And look, and we don't know the reason behind that. But whatever his reasons were, most people just looking at this from the perspective of the mother who's just lost a son has then got to track down the father who had nothing to do with them to say, you're entitled to half of his estate, and of course he took it.
Of course he did.
I like for you to hear that story because I think it makes you realise that everybody needs a will.
Yeah, it's all,
no one's in a situation where you don't need one.
You have no control what happens to you or your family if you don't make a will. That's just the fact of it.
And don't be waiting, I'm going to wait until I get married. I'm going to wait until this happens.
Tomorrow's never promised, is it? So it at one point will be too late. And even if you just want to give your money all to charity, do it. Write it into a will. Because sadly, that money that you wanted to give to that charity that perhaps looked after your loved one when they were poorly could end up with a long-distance second cousin, you know, from Australia that you've never ever met, because it will go down that government will, and it won't be what you want. Whatever you want, whatever you own, do with it what you want to do with it. Make sure it's written down legally. Get that bespoke will so you can rest in peace in a way, because you know what's happening that you wanted to happen is happening. Because I know, and I like to think that my dad's looking down on me. He drops a white feather every so often and brings a robin and things, and you think, yes. That I know Dad would be devastated if the family was falling out because they hadn't written a will, and that actually the family knew what they wanted to happen, but it's out of their hands because it's gone to the government.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, there is a will, isn't it? If you haven't written your own, it's the government.
And all you've got to do is take that first step. It is a case of just getting in touch, taking that first step, and taking advantage of these brilliant offers that we've got across the show. Whether it's wills or lasting power of attorney, now's the time to decide. Remember, these offers are available until close of business Friday, but we would say get in touch right now. Take advantage of the offers right now.
Time goes too quick.
If you are watching us on our +1 channels, on ITV1 +1 and STV +1, there won't be anyone in the call centre, but you'll still be able to get in touch through texting or through the website. Let's run you through the actual offers. So we start with the will. The will itself, suggested retail price of £249. Well, that comes down to £99 on our usual offer, but we've got an extra 10% off there. So that's why it's such a great time to take advantage now. That is also split, if you so wish, into 4 interest-free payments, just £22.25 on your first of 4 payments there for your will.
So affordable, and you know what you want to happen is going to happen. Probably less than you spend on coffee right there, and that is your will written. Lasting power of attorney, excuse me, that was a bit high-pitched, wasn't it?
A bit croaky. Lasting power of attorney there should be £349. That's on offer at less than £200 at £199, but with the extra 10% discount that you've got there, it comes down to £179.
And we will briefly go through that as well, won't we?
Yeah, we'll cover that in just a couple of minutes. £44.75 on your first of 4 interest-free payments there with the lasting power of attorney. But the best offer of all, if you go for the will and lasting power of attorney, should be almost £600 on offer at £269. Well, it comes down to £242 with the extra 10% off, and that's just £60.50 on the first of 4 interest-free payments. Remember, the first 250 people who take advantage will also get that book, What My Family Should Know, and that's a book where you just keep details of everything from pensions to bank accounts to digital accounts, everything in that one
It's that peace of mind for the loved ones you've left behind, that they can find absolutely everything. And remember, all you're doing tonight is securing the prices and securing your book. So all you need to do is just get in contact anyway, whichever is easiest for you. simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on TV is one way via the website. The team are on the phones till 3 a.m, so you've still got chance. Unless you're watching on +1, you can ring tomorrow, but I would get in contact via the actual website or by texting. If you are ringing, it's 0333 600 2600. And remember, you don't need any information. It's just saying, I want to do my will, I want these prices, I want to get this job done. But most people, and I think we do it because it's just so easy, and our phone's always in our pocket or in our hand, is to text
just
the word
texting,
will.
Text the word will, WILL, to 66777, and then the team will get back to you later today or tomorrow. It means you've secured the offer and you've secured that book. And if you do change your mind, whether it's the will, lasting power of attorney, or both, they will honour those prices for you. In fact, we're going to talk quickly before the end of the live show about lasting power of attorney, Charlotte. If anyone at home has heard of it but they're not sure what it is, can you explain for us?
Yep, so these are documents you put in place now while you're alive. Hope you never need, but they're there should you need them. So they basically allow you to nominate who you trust to step into your shoes and make decisions on your behalf if you're not able to yourself. So it could be that you've had a freak accident, it could be illness. Dementia is really prevalent in obviously elderly, not even necessarily elderly now, as we've said already. A lot of people associate these with old age, but it could be any age. As we said, it could even be a freak accident.
They're good to have in place at any age.
Any age, but the point of these documents is you put them in place now, whilst you have got capacity, because once you haven't, it is too late. So
now, there's 2 different types,
There's 2 different types, yep. So the first document is property and financial affairs. So whoever you trust, again, this is the beauty of this, it's your choice. So it could be family, could be friends. These people step into your shoes and they can access bank accounts, pay bills on your behalf, manage any properties that you've got, claim any benefits you may be receiving.
Because this still all needs doing, you know, if you're poorly. But the truth is, even if you think, well, I always look, you know, I look after mum now, or it's your husband or wife, you think, of course I can deal with all this. You can't, can you, legally?
Can't, no, if you tried to do so now, if you tried to go into Sean's bank account and contacted them, first thing they're going to say is, are you the account holder?
Yeah.
Well, no. And that's it, you can't go any
stops
further.
there, doesn't it?
And then if you're vulnerable at that point, it's even more protected.
Of course.
So these documents, really, really powerful. You're called a donor on the lasting power of attorney because you're donating your power, your voice, to the people that you trust. They step into your shoes and essentially become you. So they can manage all of those things for you. Bills don't stop coming out.
Yeah.
You know, pensions may need to keep coming in. Property may need to be sold. So they can do all of that for you if you're unable to.
And it's somebody you trust.
Yeah, because
Somebody
you decide.
trust.
And we did this with Simpler Law for my mum years before they came and worked with us here on Shop on TV. When we sat down, it was just to sit down, a conversation. You ask the right questions and we have the answers, even though you don't think we do. You mentioned there was a second lasting power of attorney, and I was like, well, this is just as important or more important than the financial side, really.
Yeah, I think a lot of people relate to the financial side because, as I say, money doesn't stop just because you've lost your capacity. The health and welfare document is a lot more personal, a lot more emotive. So this one, again, you choose who you trust. It can be the same people as your finances. It could be different. Again, that's your choice. But whoever you do choose, they can decide where you're living. So if they want to care for you themselves at home or in your home, they can make that choice. If you need to go into care, they can choose which care home that is.
Yeah.
Could be close by to them, could just be one that you've mentioned previously. But again, they can make that decision for you. They can discuss your medication, even down to things like what you're eating, if you're a vegetarian.
It's really personal, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, if you like
Really
to have your
important
hair
things,
done, what you like to wear, you might like to wear a tie every day. Only your loved ones are going to know things like that. And although it's important to you, it's going to be really, really important to them when they're in that situation to be able to make that choice for you, because a lot of things are going to be out of their control at that point. So to be able to make those decisions for you, even who you actually don't want to see.
Yes.
If you're in a care home,
They're so important, those
yeah,
things.
And if you
really
haven't
see
got
estranged
lasting power of
families.
attorney, you've got no chance of being in control of any of this, or someone you trust
Yeah,
being
that's
in
why
control
these
of
are so
any of this.
important. You have to do them now, because once it's too late, you cannot put powers of attorney in place.
And if you don't have them, then you have to go to the Court of Protection, and this can be really costly, really complicated. And you were saying, Ian, it can take upwards of 12 months now.
It's a year. On average, it's taken a year for the. You have to apply for something called a deputyship order. That's a court process. The court paperwork is horrific. The fees for actually applying and what the court asks for are in the region of £1,100. That's if you try and do it
But
yourself.
you've got to try and find.
You've got to find that. And the court are then questioning you because they're there to protect the vulnerable person. So it all feels.
And that's you as a husband or a wife or a
Yeah.
daughter, or you have to prove it costs and it can take a year, which is just horrendous because that year might be too late. So a lasting power of attorney, just as important as your wills. But remember, whatever you're going for tonight, you have got fantastic deals, but you do need to get in contact right now to make sure you secure those prices. They are available until close of business on Friday, but do it now because you'll forget otherwise.
Yeah, you can see all the offers that we've got on the show. First of all, the will should be $249 down to $89 with that extra 10% off. $22.25 on your first of 4 interest-free payments. If you want to go for the lasting power of attorney, should be £349. That comes down to $179 or $44.75 on your first of 4 interest-free payments. But the best offer of all, and if you do change your mind on any of these, you will be able, as long as you've secured the offer.
You might have already been in touch and you only said about the will, and now you're thinking, oh, I should have done the will and lasting power of attorney.
Should be $598. It's down with the extra 10% off to $242 or £60.50 on your first of 4 interest-free payments. To get in touch, it's really simple and really straightforward. Remember, if you're watching the live show, the team are in the call centre right through to 3 a.m. If you're watching on +1, you can still go to the website or text. Texting the word will is the easiest and always the most popular on these shows.
So quick, so easy, and it's done. All you're doing right now is securing the deal. The team will get back to you, and when it's the right time for you to sit down and chat, even if you're going away for a couple of weeks on holiday, you know, in a few days, say, can we speak in 3 weeks' time? Yeah. Absolutely fine. Just make sure you secure those prices right now, and you'll also get a fabulous book. We've got 250 of those if they're still available for you to get your hands onto. So do make sure you do it right now.
Only until the close of business on Friday. So take that first step for your peace of mind and for your family. Got to say a huge thank you as always to Ian and Charlotte for joining us. Thank you. We'll see you very soon.
Much. Thank you for watching. Do please make sure you get that will written, because if you haven't got a will, the government will falls into place.